David, Seth Meyers,
That's right.
good guy.
Seth Meyers on the show this week. Seth Meyers was a little after us.
But I hosted when he was the head writer.
That's right.
And it was great to write with him. He's really sharp. He's just a very nice guy, very bright, articulate young man.
He is very articulate, and he seems like he has his act together. Worked with some really good people and had some funny stories about a lot of them, and really good inside baseball about SNL and his own talk show. And he's done a comedy special or two. He's done pretty well for himself, this kid.
And if you look at his time on SNL, which we go over his timeline, he really bridged a lot of casts. And he was there during that. There was sort of, I think other people refer to it as a murderer's row, but he was a really good guy to have around because he was around all those years, either writing for everybody, performing himself, or doing Update. And he did it solo for many years as well. So he has a big SNL career. So this was a good guest for us, and we know him.
And I had fun reliving a story that I forgot about that when I hosted, that we were in a sketch with Amy Poehler. Did we talk about that with Seth?
Which one?
Maybe we talked about it with Amy. But Seth was the director of that. He played the director. We were in a movie, me and Amy, and Seth is the fake director in the sketch. Anyway, I don't want to give it all away. Let's just let them hear it.
I know. I said something that Greg, won't be able to use, but it was on a Zoom for this thing up in the other house, and I said, "Yeah, I can do stuff from up here." You know, last week I did Amy Poehler in the barn. It just sounded sexy.
That sounds good.
Sorry, you can cut that.
Anyway, I don't think anyone believes that, but it's fine. It's funny. Okay, so here's Seth, guys, and we're just had a nice time with him.
Seth, non sequitur theater. So I did a gig in West Virginia. Do you want a sound check? Well, I'll ask you in a second. Are you a sound check guy?
No.
Just make it sound really good. Jay Farrell was there the night before. So I said, just give me Jay's sound. Okay, go. They off mic, go out. And then just a huge slapback echo. You ever had, and I like, do I stop the show? But maybe it's the room. They can't. But that was so distracting because I would talk, but I couldn't really. It came
and then
back,
it talks back to you? Is that what it is?
Garbled, yeah. So like an echo effect. Seth Meyers is our guest today.
Wait, do you think that Jay Farrell likes a big slapback echo? Do you think that was on his rider?
Well, if you drop the echo and just go big slapback, I have no idea. No.
I always do a sound check for this very reason.
It's so rare that it's a problem. I mean, Nate Bargatze, all these, I don't do it either. Really?
Well, I will remember to ask, is there a slapback echo?
Now you will, sure.
In this theater?
It's a combination of laziness and unprofessionalism on my end. But I just don't want to get there at 3 p.m. and go in, and then I'm like, hello? And they're like, okay.
See, I wouldn't do 3, but I try to show up earlier. If they say be there at 6:30, I'm like, what about 6 for a sound check? Yeah, I wouldn't.
Now, what are you looking for? How meticulous are you? Like a little more bass,
Nothing.
Okay,
like less. I have no taste at all about music or sound or lights. They ask me what for the lights. I 100% have your take on it, Dana, which is whatever the last guy had. But I just want to be there in case something.
Right. And you want to be able to, because people are coming in a casino, and you want to be able to kind of see them and comment. Not brightly lit, but just a little light.
Yeah.
Anyway, but.
No, don't move on to Seth yet.
I think I learn a lot from what do you do before a stand-up show. So I'm happy to talk about this.
It's so riveting to the audience. So when I get on.
They love this stuff.
Here's another problem, Seth. You get on. And there's like a fucking wind turbine on your side of your face. I go, was Beyonce here last? Because I don't want my hair blowing to the side. And now I have cotton mouth. And I go, hey, can we turn off AC unit 104? And then everyone already checked out. Once you're on stage, they all leave and go to smoke. Everyone on the crew.
Okay, stand-up story question. Have you ever mistakenly been chewing gum right before you go out, and then you realize that you have bit your tongue or the side of your mouth, and you are bleeding? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. And your mouth is bleeding. Anyone ever had that?
No, I've never had that.
Seth, how many stand-up dates? I mean, have you been consistently doing stand-up these last 20 years? or on and off?
Yeah, on and off. I did my special. I taped pretty much right before the pandemic, so then it was good. It was good timing that I didn't have an act for the 18 months that nobody could do an act, and then I've sort of started after.
Your name pops up in my world sometimes. Like if Seth was here last week for the Corporate Dater. Seth couldn't make it. Will you do it? Yeah.
Yeah. I hear a lot that you, because again, especially corporate things, Dana, you hear about people who bomb, and I always hear that you have done very well. When I ask who did it last year, I like to always.
Don't you always go, how'd they do?
How'd they do?
First of all, they're very difficult. James Austin Johnson, the Trump extraordinary president, he called me recently because he was doing some for the first time. He was like, well, how do you do these? Because you're just playing to silence and they're having a steak dinner. So what I do is I go online, I check the corporation, and then I give a fake speech as if I'm knowledgeable about their economic data, and I think we can see growth in the third quarter. I just do a lot of tricks, but
they love it. They love it.
They love it. What about you, Seth?
I was at an event in New York. I think Lauren asked if Bill Hader and I would do it together. And so Bill was Stefan and I was me, and we did this charity event. And afterwards, Bill said, "Oh my God, we bombed." And I was lucky enough to know, oh no, that was great. For a charity event, we just crushed.
For this, yes.
Yes. I always come off, even if I bomb, I always go, wow, that was a great audience. I had a great time. Even if I'm dead silent, you can hit
and everyone looks at,
they kind of go,
looks around
he
going,
thought it was
does
good.
He doesn't know.
I do like to do a meet and greet. If I have to. I like doing it after the show because even if you thought it was rough, they will often say that was so much better than what we usually have.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had this guy named not to be mentioned, and
yeah,
it was awful.
Seth, here's another trick, and then we're going to talk about, I don't even know what, but when I get off, they go, you contractually have to do 50, let's say, or an hour. And you go, fine. And then it's bombing so badly, you get off at 51. I'm supposed to do an hour. The first thing I say is, did I go too long? And they go, oh, no, actually. I go, oh my God, thank God. I thought it was like an hour and a half. And they're like, no, it was a little short. Oh, thank you. Okay, good. And they're like, wait.
I did.
Because they don't have to pay you.
Sometimes they get excited and they want your entrance to be, and I go, that only buys me 10 seconds. This is amazing. So it's a car show. They got me a go-kart, and I'm supposed to go through the audience. I go, it's not, and the music is like Metallica, and I'm in the car, whoa, and then the music comes down. I step out of the car, and it's the biggest womp womp.
Now what?
Do you come on to music, Seth? Ladies and gentlemen, or do you come out, just walk out?
I usually walk. They usually play, and again, I just have no taste for this. They'll sometimes just play like 5 seconds of the opening credits for late night. But I will say, and if any corporate planners are listening, nobody at a corporate event wants more than 45 minutes. And I know they want their money's worth and they think, give us an hour. Nobody at a corporate event. Oftentimes we're going on, and the next thing is they all get to have dinner and drinks together and talk to their colleagues. And it doesn't matter how red hot the comedian is, an hour is too long at a corporate event.
I've had in the early days, they'd say 70 and a 10-minute meet and greet. And then it got down to some of them were 30 to 45 and like a half-hour meet and greet. It became more about me being a museum piece at this point in my existence on the planet.
Sure.
So they want to get the picture with the guy from the late 70s.
You're right, Seth. It's hard to say you're paying a lot. I'm telling you,
yes,
even 30 is a lot, but do 45.
Not
the
70.
last 15 will be horrifying, but you'll do it. And they all they want to do is, you're right. If they have something after, or they just want to talk, they're drinking. Yeah. And if you're a surprise and they're like, at the end of your 8-hour meeting, we have an extra hour tacked on of someone and they're like, I heard it was Gwen Stefani. And I walk out and they go, what the fuck? And then they go, oh, okay. And then I do it. And they're like, they all rush to the bar.
And it is true. You're right, David, because you want to say like, I'm not saying this because I'm lazy. It's only 15 minutes out of my day. I can do it. I'm just doing it for you and your people.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. They get up at 6. The open bars at 5. Yes. They see me at 10. That's, anyway, we don't.
I have a real question for Seth.
Let's start the program. Ladies and gentlemen.
Aside from what Seth, I have to say, looks great. And whatever you're doing on Zoom, I need to do it. I need to helicopter your team out. Mm-hmm. He looks tan. He's clear. I can hear him. I look like fuck pie. I don't know. I shouldn't even be on this Zoom.
You got to have the camera up. We're going to talk later, but Seth has a little bit of scruff.
Yeah, a little scruff.
Let me ask you a question. So you've just been, for someone who's been working nonstop for 20 years at an extremely high level. So the strike hits.
Yeah.
Was this your longest break? I mean, you had pandemic breaks, but then there was Zoom stuff. But this was probably your longest break in like 20 years or something. I mean,
yeah, definitely. Because the pandemic, we immediately went back to doing the show. So I was alone, but I was working.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so this was the only thing that was close was the last strike, which was 100 days. And this was, 100, almost 150. So this was nuts. The difference between this time and last time is I have 3 kids. So it didn't really feel like a break. I would say that my time was used very well. And I did try to get out and do shows because I liked being in front of an audience. But it was a very, very strange, long break from being... Also, the entirety of my career has taken place in 30 Rock. So it was weird to not be in this building.
How long do you not, this is a good one. How long do you not tell your wife and kids there's a strike so you can just leave at a certain time in the day and just go to wherever you want? And then they finally go, wait, you're not even going to work anymore. You go,
I think I could have made it a full month before. Because certainly none of them watched the show. So it would have been that.
That's great. Yeah.
Are you amazed? Because I assume it's accelerated. I don't know what your childhood was like, but just how integrated the parent is with the child in modern parenting. I think it's just systemic and it's just environmental. But yeah, it's not like your dad or my dad. There were 5 kids and we barely saw them. Do your yard work and get the hell out, that kind of stuff. Everyone knows that. But when you're home with 3 kids, because you have 3, are they have an ecosystem of entertaining themselves?
They're just still a little young, but the 2 boys, so it's 7, 5, and 2. And so the 2 boys they're kind of entertaining themselves a little bit. It was both good and bad that the strike fell during the summer, because it was good because, obviously that's a better time to not be going into an office. And it was bad because they just didn't have school. So they were just around the whole time. And that's why I started multiple podcasts, just to have a reason to tell them to be quiet. Daddy's working.
Oh, right. Now you have your podcast. You have one solo, and then you have the 5 tenors.
Yeah, so I do one with my brother called Family Trips with the Meyers Brothers, and then Strike 5, which will be wrapping up. The strike basically ended because people collectively decided they didn't want our podcast to keep.
Was that factor in?
Who thought of the name? Because it's pithy. I don't know what you would call it. Strike Force 5. I mean, it is. I'm going to guess John Oliver.
No, it was Colbert. No? I think it was Colbert. And it was originally just the name of our text chain that we started in the run up to the strike, because we did want to make sure we were all on the same page, knowing that it was likely to happen. And so that was the name of the text chain. And then Kimmel had the idea for the podcast, and we realized that we already had a very good name.
And you're the only 12:30 in the bunch, right?
I'm the only 12:30 in the bunch. Also, thank you for saying 12:30, when in reality now I think it's 12:37, which is even more embarrassing to say. When you tell somebody you're on a show that starts at 12:37, it sounds like...
Why does that happen for the regular viewer?
I think it's about the affiliates and station breaks and stuff, and the local news and all really thrilling things. But yeah, it's all gotten pushed back a little bit.
When I'm watching your stuff on YouTube and you have these gigantic amount of hits and stuff, it seems like, obviously it's looser at 12:30. If all things being equal, it seems better to be doing your show at that time. As far as more fun, I don't know the financial part of it, but it does seem just loose. That 1 hour later, you just got freedom, right?
I think it also helps that you're on after, and I don't think that Jimmy Fallon's not having fun. I think he's having a lot of fun too, but I think the network's paying a great deal more attention to his show than our show. And so that just gives you the freedom to do what you want, especially after the COVID break where we didn't have an audience. We were just doing a show for almost 18 months without a live audience. And we kind of kept using those instincts as we got the audience back. And so the show's been very loose and very fun to do. It's one of the reasons I didn't go back to wearing a suit, is it just seemed like, I'm going to let people know when they tune in that we have a little bit more of a laid back vibe about what we're trying to get done here.
You're the Fetterman of the,
I'm the
strike
Fetterman.
force.
I was the first guy there. I was the first guy there. Although Fetterman makes me look like I'm in a tuxedo.
Yeah.
So the stress of being the head writer at SNL and all that, and then when they approached you, you could tell if you have a Lorne to do this show. You know, you're the host, and is it 4 nights a week?
Yeah.
Is it easier or harder, or you're still figuring out how compared to being the head writer at SNL and then being in a lot of sketches?
I will say this was very hard when it started, but it's easier now because unlike SNL, where each week a different host comes in and completely changes the DNA of the week, we now every week we're trying to make our show and everybody here is sort of rowing in the same direction. Whereas the thing about SNL, and especially being the head writer, is it just never got easier. I think you maybe got a little bit better at it, but the headaches that would come up on any given week, you just couldn't get out in front of them. There was never a way to, make it a foolproof.
It's
and
almost
so,
impossible that it stays as hard as it does, but it does.
Yeah. And you feel like you're in service to an institution and you don't want to sort of besmirch its legacy, and you're working for Lorne. Having to see Lorne every day is just in general harder than not having to see Lorne every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he can't be everywhere giving notes to everything.
Yes. I mean, we're in a very nice position where, I think also, you guys have spoken of Shoemaker, with me and Shoemaker working on the show, like we're two people that Lorne sort of turned to a lot in our tenure at SNL. And so I think he has a lot of confidence in us. And so we don't have to, he doesn't feel the need to check in with us on a day-to-day level.
And you know how he thinks.
Yes. Slowly.
And how he talks.
Yes.
Like when I was there and you're the head writer, I just noticed and I remember with Jim Downey too, but you were just involved in every sketch basically and overriding and doing. And just a funny little anecdote from me. When I was hosting earlier, I don't know, it was 98 or 2000, Tina was assigned to do church chat with me because Lorne will do church chat. He just tells you, yeah. All right. And then she would do the church lady when we were in the office writing. And then 10 years later, I'm doing it. You're going to help me with it. And then you would do a church lady impression when you were writing jokes as a church lady. And I don't want to say who did it better. Mm-hmm. You're both great, but that was you had a very good ear for the lady. Let's put it that way.
That was there are many surreal things that happen in your time at that show, especially if you're someone who grew up watching the show. But that is very high on the list. Spending that week with you, where not only did we get to work on a church chat, but also Wayne's World. That was a real trip where I was definitely pinching myself the whole time.
When you went back to host, did they have things they want you to do? Or
I had a very different time at the show than you, Dana, in that.
Well, you had your update segments and all.
Yeah,
all
that's
that
about
stuff.
all I had. I will say, I have no proof except for how late they asked me. I do get the sense that someone dropped out.
Fallout boy.
Yeah, and then because I was like, I feel like we knew the host before the Sunday night.
And can you run over here and be in 30 sketches?
And I was doing this show. We had to cancel a week of the show, which was no big deal. And I was very excited to host. I'd been gone, I only think about 3 years, but there was literally nothing I did that anybody wanted to see me do again other than update. And, I did start as a cast member and sort of worked my way into being a writer and the guy on update. So they had already tried me in sketches and it had been a failed experiment. So
you went backwards.
I felt for the writing staff the week I came in who had to figure out a thing that had already been tried and not figured out. I had a wonderful.
Did you just do an hour-long update?
Player? Sorry,
what's that?
He came in and to host and just did an hour of update.
You'll do updates. Good nights. You came in as a feature or a full-fledged cast member?
No, I was a feature. I started with Amy Poehler, and then Dean Edwards and Jeff Richards were in my class, and we were we were featured. I was featured for 2 years, and I had a real either first or second summer. I had one of those like they're not picking you up yet. One of those.
Oh yeah.
Where
I know that tune.
Where they basically, I mean, they are saying
David knows.
they haven't decided on you yet. What they're going to do is look at every other funny person. And
they're doing a tour of Second City, the Improv.
Yeah. As long as they don't find one person they like more, you're good.
And when did you accelerate? When did you take over the show, essentially?
I definitely benefited from Tina's departure, but I would say really sort of gutted through the first 5.5, 6 years on the show. But when Tina left, and again, I wasn't at the rewrite table. I was just a cast member. And then Lauren called me in and asked me if I wanted to be a writing supervisor for Tina's last year. And that was
what does that mean?
That's sort of like a right underneath the head writer. So, but I ran a table. I was one of the people who ran a table.
Oh, okay.
And that was the first time I felt like I had added any value to the show that they couldn't go find elsewhere. The thing for me, and again, I'm not being hard on myself, but when I wrote a lot of things for group sketches where other people would be in them. And the longer I was there, the more really funny people showed up, like Hader, Sandberg, Sudeikis, Forte, Fred. And they were this kind of guy. Every one of them could do my best move better than me. And so as a writer, I would rather put Bill Hader in my sketch than me. And so if I felt that way, I certainly knew the rest of the writing staff felt that way too. So that was why it was very nice for me to find my way into head writer. And then, of course, Update.
Longest running Update until Colin took over.
These two guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blew me out of the water, these two.
So you were there 12 years, 13 years? No, yeah, at SNL.
Yeah,
12 and a half years. And first 5 tough, and then you became head writer and then Update guy extraordinaire. Yeah. Well,
I mean, I felt at home then in a way that if late night hadn't popped up, I didn't have really an exit strategy. I was in a way that probably wasn't good. I became content at SNL.
Does Lauren have what does he have there? He has your studio, which is called what, 9 or something?
We're 8G.
8G. He has 8H. It's got to be some expensive real estate there. Does he have anything else? Was that Conan's?
Fallon's downstairs. He's 6.
Oh, right.
6B? Is that right? He is? Yeah.
I was in 6A in 1981.
Doing your show?
Sitcom with Mickey Rooney and Nathan Lane, one of the boys.
Oh, right.
And I was in 6A in Rockefeller Center for 6 months.
What a bummer there's no sitcoms in 30 Rock anymore. That would be such a fun thing to have.
Was 30 Rock the sitcom in 30 Rock?
No. 30 Rock was at
Silver Cup?
Yeah, that's right.
Up.
Is that in Queens?
Yep.
We owned a piece of that, David. If
you're from Queens, I'm from Normal Parents. It's from someone's act. That was crowd work when I was doing stand-up.
That was a good line. So when you, I could ask you a lot of different questions. One is, how did day drinking come about? I mean, because that is unbelievably
not your day drinking, but the sketch.
Day drinking, the segment,
the sketch,
where Seth goes with celebrities and they get kind of drunk. It's incredibly entertaining. It's like to watch.
Yeah, it is. The interesting thing is, I think having the late night show and having watched a lot of Conan, certainly when I was in college, and the Man on the Street stuff that Conan did, I aspired to do that as well. And I had so much anxiety being in public doing the show, and that lack of control and knowing you had to sort of find it as opposed to have it planned ahead of time.
It's all edited. Yeah. You gotta shoot 8 hours to get like one segment.
Yes. And you have to and for every funny person you find, what the audience doesn't see is the 8 weirdos where it was sort of aggressive or strange or just dry. And with day drinking, I sort of drink away my anxiety about it, like anybody with sort of a social anxiety, and it becomes a lot more fun. And we actually don't have to cut it down as much as you'd think. But the first time I did it was with my brother, and we just thought it would be a fun thing to do because I like doing stuff with my brother. And it was Retta, the wonderful actress, comedian, said, "Oh, I want to do that." And we never thought it would be a thing we would do with guests, but because Retta did it and it was so much fun, we kind of got more people signed on. And now, people ask all the time to do it. And we have to be we try to be a little, cautious with how often we do it, because I am drinking an amount that as I get older, I probably should not do often.
How do you keep up with some of these guys? There's a couple of guys, I won't say who, but I'm sure they could drink you under the table.
No. The only person who I think left me in the dust was Rihanna, because at the end of that, she definitely was going out. Like that was like the beginning of her night, and it was most assuredly the end of mine.
So nobody's driving because it's New York. So there's no.
It's New York, so everybody's safe and sound. Yeah, that's good.
That's a weird bit that I can't believe people do, and it's a
What's
great
that
idea
hot sauce one on YouTube? You do hot sauce.
Hot ones. Have you guys done hot ones?
I will not do hot ones.
That's a compelling.
I did hot ones. I think it's wonderful. I think that guy's a really good interviewer, and I think the hotter the wings get, the less you're capable of editing your own answers. So it's very smart. Because
you're in pain, and so the anxiety is supplanted with agony.
Genuine pain.
Oh yeah, I it's funny because most of my interviews I just want to like have a nice time.
You're an outlier.
I'm so weird. You know who I saw, Dana? I'll tell Seth, you'll like this. I did a show at Town Hall the other night. When this airs in 2026,
right.
We'll just say it's 20. But I did Town Hall. It was great. And who comes back? Kenny Amon.
Did he really?
Yeah, isn't that great?
Prince
he
of the
was
city.
In the audience. I think I was talking about something we talked about in the show. We mentioned him a lot, and then I emailed him, and then he said, "I heard you're coming to town, David." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I'd love to come with the wife." So I got him in half price, took care of him, and he came in. And then he came back after. He was hesitant to. He said he didn't want to bother me, and then he came back. He was exactly Kenny Amon. Super fun. We talked about that Sinead O'Connor thing. Dana, that I said, how much of what I say on the show is a lie? What do you think? What's the percentage? And he said, you got the Sinead O'Connor one a little wrong. And I go, oh, he still has the picture.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now I will admit, David, when I heard you tell that on your show, I knew you were a little wrong because Kenny had told me that story so many times.
I'm telling you, you remember something back, whatever. It wasn't that far off. So we talked about it. So she did rip up the picture. That part was true.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then I walked out. I picked up a piece. That's true. I kept it. He never got it back from me is one problem, he said. He said he brought me in and said, I heard you have a piece. And I said, yes, because I was bragging to the office. And then he said, we're going to need it back. And I guess I didn't give it back. And then there was a legal problem. He tried to get it back from a current affair. Then he got it. And then he said, then he kept it. He had it for Joe Pesci monologue. I guess they still didn't have my piece. I don't know what I was thinking. I was terrified of my job. Why in God's green earth did I not bring it back in? And he said it wasn't a very important piece. It was a lot of like white. And I go, okay, relax. It's important. It was a good, solid piece. And then he has it now. And Lauren asked him for it. And he said no.
Yeah, Lauren asked him for it for that touring sort of SNL museum exhibit they were doing. And good old Kenny shot him down. And I will say,
who shot
Kenny
Lauren
probably
down?
But that's the thing. And by the way, Kenny Kenny had to bear the brunt of Lauren's whimsy for the entire run he was at the show. The amount of time I sat there when we would do picks on, Wednesday night, and Lauren wouldn't be able to choose between two, and he'd look at Kenny and say, can we do both? And Kenny would be like, we don't have the space, Lauren. We physically don't have the space. And Lauren's like, you'll figure it out. And just like poor Kenny would have to like go.
Of course.
He did seem anxious. I mean, such a nice guy, but he did seem, his eyes were wide open and he was on the move during show week. You could tell that he was trying to
He was the guy getting everything done.
He was the guy getting everything done. But I will say, because he did look like he's the way you wanted a guy in a control room for a live TV show to look. Arms crossed, just worry lines. But when a show was over and Kenny took you aside and told you he loved a sketch you'd done, that meant more than almost anybody, because you realized that for it to actually break through his wall of anxiety and bring him any joy, it had to be a genuinely funny piece of comedy.
And he's seen 2,000 million shows.
What was the hardest thing you ever felt that you landed there? Would it be a certain update piece or a sketch? Or
I wrote the Amy, Tina, Palin, Clinton sketch, and that's the hardest anything played in the room, and that was great because I didn't have any performance anxiety about it. I had sort of written this thing that was then in the hands of these two incredible performers. So that is one of the few times in my run at the show where I just sort of stood on the floor knowing that it would go great and just got to sort of bask in that reaction. The other thing about it, because it was just an in one. You know, I think sometimes when you write something on the show, your fear after it plays great at dress isn't that the actors will get it wrong, but maybe Lauren made you cut something and you're just worried about the shot being late. Because again, it's not the director's fault, but they're calling these shots so fast. And I was always so frustrated when a sketch went great at dress if anybody wanted to make a change, because
or the audience was tough. You don't know what's going to happen, or it's after following something and something for some reason it steps on some jokes and you're like, oh my god, I never saw that coming.
If something kills at dress and then a line of yours in an ensemble piece, and then later on you find out that you didn't step into the light or it was turned away, so the camera wasn't on you, and you realize later, well, it wasn't my fault, you know.
Yeah,
that's the torture of SNL. But when it works, like, did you sit with Tina? Did you know she had a really great impression and rhythm, and also sort of a look-alike element? Did you sit with her a little bit and then write the sketch, or you just assumed she would do it?
I think that was the first one, and in the subsequent ones, we worked on them more together. But she was doing 30 Rock at the time, so there wasn't a lot of free time in her schedule. I think people forget that she wasn't a full cast member at the time. She was actually juggling those two things. And then once it became what it became, I mean, again, I think we only did 6, but I think we did 6 in sort of a 9-week period. She and I both had this fear that they would get worse. And somebody would say they were getting worse. So we kind of redoubled our efforts to keep it good. And that was where, not just Tina as a performer, but having Tina as a writer on those was invaluable.
I can see Russia from my house.
But now I got to own it up. You know who wrote that line?
Lauren.
Shoemaker. Shoemaker.
Oh, Shoemaker, really?
Shoemaker
line.
That's a great prop to give Shoemaker.
Shoemaker was hard. It was heartbreaking because it was Saturday morning and we're all at the update table where we're sort of picking the jokes. So we would get in, I think at 11:30 on Saturday morning and start going through the update jokes. And I had the sketch out and was just going through it one last time and sort of asking the room for jokes. And Shoemaker said, I could see Russia from my house. And it was just, you immediately knew, that's the best line, and that'll be the one that gets quoted forever.
God damn, what a short, concise,
good for him.
Perfect.
Memorable.
It's perfect comedy writing.
The thing about political impressions is that the audience still is coming on to the person. So like Sarah Palin walked out the Republican convention, first time everyone saw her. I don't know how soon after you guys did that, but it seemed like as the season went on, she kept doing Meet the Press or whatever she was doing. And so the audience was getting more and more familiar. So probably I remember them all landing really hard. Yeah. At least that's the Palin was like Ross Perot. I always say to people, a fully formed comic character, just coming right out of the box. You didn't have to go, not got to do it or try to find a way to make it funny. So it's great when great writing meets a great performance. And then the moment for Sarah Palin on Saturday Night Live, it's like a peak moment on the history of SNL, I think.
Very true.
Yeah. And then there are other times where it's me playing John Kerry where none of those things happen.
There was no there was no way. I mean, John Kerry, just that,
there's not that much there.
Tough to get a hook.
Yeah.
I had a line. He looked like the tree from The Wizard of Oz. So I would just do that and say that's John Kerry. Are you saying my apples don't? That you just make up something. But no, he was
which
tough.
Is good. Which is like that's a very good stand-up approach. But with this, when you have to do a guy for 6 sketches, it just you run out of moves. I mean, you start with no moves, then you run out. And it's funny because I remember during the Palin year, there was a lot of press around SNL, and I would do interviews and people would say, it just seems like every election year SNL comes alive. And I would say, not every. Not every.
Gary,
you remember 2004?
I like you start with nothing and it runs out from there.
Well, also, George W. Bush was funny, and was Will there in 2004 still, or someone else took it over?
No, Will was gone, so it was Will Forte was doing
But
Bush.
That was a funny
and
character.
So he and I could find no purchase at that point. That was, I mean, I think 5 people did Bush after Farrell left.
Duty.
And again, you're following a guy who because his Bush was almost as much feral as Bush, right?
Yeah, because
so
once somebody identifies the hooks, then it's hard to stay away.
And election Bush was sort of a more likable Bush before you're doing, Iraq War Bush, which is then like people don't like him and they also miss Will Ferrell. There was a lot stacked up against you when you were trying to do it.
And then you come in with Carrie. Did anybody, Jim Downey, give you any kind of catchphrase?
Yeah, Downey was helpful, and Downey and
I'm John Kerry. I mean, I don't have a clue how to do that.
Daryl Hammond would come and try to help, but it wasn't. That's like it's a weird like Daryl Hammond trying to help somebody like me with an impression would be like LeBron James trying to teach me how to dunk. Like, you dunk like this. You'd be like, yeah, but I don't have any of those parts.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. You're Hugh Grant.
Passable.
Also, you have a passing resemblance to Hugh Grant. You're
that's what helps.
The guy to do
passing.
No, but you had. I know. Well, it's a podcast. You could do it or not, but I think you have one of the best ones.
No, I'm frankly, sorry. That was it. That was just a guy who couldn't. But I did audition with it. I did audition with Hugh Grant, so I have a special place in my heart.
You just do that much, and you get applause, and that's about.
That was in and out.
People don't know that you get to sound like they're Spade. You're going to be this and this, and then you've got like an hour before we do. But it doesn't mean you're doing a good impression. It's mean you're going to rely on hair, makeup, and an outfit, and then get something close and just get through a sketch.
Whose idea was Dylan and Tom Petty for you guys?
I think that was us.
Was that you?
I did Tom Petty when I was in
I
the
did Dylan at Update. He'd done a concert. He had the hat, and I think Bonnie Turner and Terry may have suggested that. I think
probably because they knew
I can't
did
believe
Petty.
someone remembers it.
Dylan.
It was a very memorable. It sort of seared in my mind the cut to the two shot of you, because you had such that your facial position for Tom Petty was so funny,
which
Spade.
he doesn't
and also
stand
that
up.
was
So he owned that. He was already
right. It sounds weird. He sounds a little like Dylan. A funny two shot. Just a look. The look again. That's a classic example. A look is funny.
Well, it was also the sort of it was apex Petty look. Mm-hmm. Right, those like little glasses. A lot of hat work was going on for both guys. So I
took that hat from the guy who worked the valet at the Marriott Marquis in downtown, and I had that hat forever.
Dylan was easy to do a hacky Dylan, but I don't. Have you listened to Dylan lately on his albums and stuff? I love old Dylan, but it's very different. Soon after midnight, I have a date with a fair queen. But then it was just, hey, all that 60s stuff. Not my best moment, but thanks for bringing it up, Seth.
Do you know, have you ever seen that photo that floats around the internet every year that posts a photo of the Traveling Wilburys and how old they were when they were in the Traveling Wilburys?
No,
and it's heartbreaking how, just so young. Oh. I think Roy Orbison was the oldest, and he was maybe like 42.
Right.
42. I know.
They say the Golden Girls were all 26.
That's true. That's true. A lot of hair and makeup working there.
Carol O'Connor, when he did All in the Family, was 15. He looked like shit.
There were two other guys. There were two other guys in his
funny.
suit.
When
they go,
Sinatra said, "I did
girl."
it my way," he was 27. I go,
yeah, see,
a little early, Frank. Okay, live a little more life before you go.
Everyone's living longer, and everyone's getting. It's not so terrifying to be, I guess. I mean, you always think you look like shit, and then 10 years later, you're like, "Oh, I looked great back then."
Yeah,
it's tough.
You just know, however bad you look now, it's going to be great in 10 years.
Yeah, we're stacked like a decade apart without putting numbers down. So it is kind of funny.
In a side story, I'm suing Zoom, by the way.
It's 10 years later, and then it's 10 years later, and then we go to. But I look to Keith Richards. Quit smoking at 80. He feels great. A lot of my heroes, like whatever. Jack Nicholson, Redford, all these people, Jane Fonda, are in their mid 80s now.
It's the weirdest. I mean, of those guys you just said, it is. Jane Fonda looks outstanding.
Yes.
And I do want to give a shout out to how well that person has aged. Just exceptional.
And as a performer,
Gorgeous.
Frankie and Grace. So really,
Yeah.
she's
I just
Wonderful
did
there,
something
very
with
funny.
Christy Brinkley, and unsurprisingly, she's stunning.
Yeah.
69.
Don't people want to be, instead of, would you rather have someone say, he's looking really good for his age, or he's hot? Would you like to be called hot still, David? Oh, Spade, he's hot.
I
But
didn't
from a
get-
woman.
I never got that ever. So yeah, I'll take fucking any scraps you got.
I'm gonna take it.
How would you like to be described, Seth?
Seth is
I
mouthing
have
what he
reached
wants.
the age, and this has not come from a place of self-doubt, but I have reached the age where if someone said I was hot, I would think something is wrong with them. You know what I mean? Whereas you look good for your age, I could take as a sort of value judgment that I can put in my pocket and feel good about, but you look hot. I mean,
I
come
think
on.
what most people do is compare themselves to the stepdad on stepdad porn and just see how you look, compared just
Right.
looks wise, not wiener wise. Anyway, we're going to look at a clip.
Stepdad porn. I
Um,
knew I just won $1,000 that was going to be mentioned during this podcast. Thank you.
I know. I was getting into it going, shouldn't I do that? I just shouldn't do that.
Also, I'm almost certain no one searches for it by that. I think they might. I think I would imagine you lean into stepdaughter when you do in the search bar,
Mhm.
but that's neither here nor there.
You know what? Mother-daughter porn is not mother-daughter. I mean, in a perfect world, but it's actually just actresses. They have an ingenue and a grizzled vet. Anyway, let's look at a clip.
By the way, who also that grizzled vet, probably younger than Roy Orbison or Traveling Wilbur.
Grizzled vet in porn is like 36. They're like, I've done 3 million films.
Did you guys ever do a porn-related sketch? Because Neelan and I did one. Ridiculous. I think it bombed. A porn-related sketch on SNL.
Oh man, there were definitely some in my time. I'm trying to think if I worked on any of them, but I don't think so.
Neelan and I were like in barber chairs with our shirts off, and we were porn stars. And people were working on manscaping or curating our. And it was like, put a little fence down there, make it nice for the people, fluff it up. It was all this abstract. That's all we had. It bombed here and it bombed then.
The one that was great in my era that I had nothing to do with was Vanessa Bayer and Cecily Strong were former porn stars who would do commercials for like Swarovski crystals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was always, they would always pronounce the name wrong. And they were really dead-eyed. Their performance was charmingly dead-eyed.
Charmingly porn-ish.
Yeah. And they're both just such funny performers. But those sketches really made me laugh.
Yeah, there's so
Does that
many.
answer your question, Dana?
Well, Keenan had
Yeah,
the
I don't
best
know.
answer about who's the greatest cast member. Everyone likes to make rankings for
Sure.
albums and everything, and he said the women. All
that's
the
a good
women.
That's a good answer.
Because when Nora Dunn was there and Jana Hooks and Victoria, it was much more male dominated. Some of it is because of men in politics, so forth and
Julia
so on.
Sweeney. Yeah.
But then it seems starting with Sherry O'Terry or Vanessa and others, and then it kept building into, just Tina and Amy and Maya. And
Yeah, we had Tina, Amy, Maya, and Wig.
that's
at
like
one point.
Oh, that's a
crazy
fucking-
Yeah.
to have those
Yeah.
four in a cast together.
Yes. And Dratch was
Yeah,
there for
she's
some of that.
always
a
She was-
score.
yeah.
Funny. Yeah.
There was there was a real sense that in those era there was literally nothing they couldn't do, and sort of
Yeah.
late in the week.
And then you add Bill Hader and Sudeikis and Fred Armisen and Will Forte. That era that you straddled. I don't
We
know.
had a killer run.
It's-
I would say that when we're talking about that the Sarah Palin stuff, like the cast at that time with Tina sort of coming back and popping in
Mhm.
was definitely the strongest top down, and it was small. One of the things, and I feel bad. I'm obviously happy for them that they're all on SNL, but sometimes when the cast gets to 20 people, it's really hard for people to break through. And we were only about 10 or 11 at one point, and that was a really nice.
That's
number.
rare because we got big in ours, and to have it go backwards is very rare. They just usually add.
Yeah.
We had 7, so everybody got to be on the show a lot.
All the birds got fed.
How do you get relaxed on the show? How do you get good on the show without being on the show? So you're right. When it's 20 and you have cast members, don't blame them. Why leave something that you're brilliant at, staying 10, 12, 13 years? People are on the junior varsity, for so long, but I guess it's just the way it is,
That, because I think part of it is you do sometimes just need to get assigned a thing or two a week where you get the rep without having to necessarily kill. Those big political sketches where you get thrown, some senator at a panel and you have a few hours, but you just get in front of the camera and you get to learn cards, and other people are going to have the big laughs, and people watching at home want to find those new people they can root for, and they have to see you in order to root for you.
And you get the butterflies out of the way because they always come, but at least you get a feel for how sickening it is to actually walk 10 feet on camera and turn to face the cameras and you go, oh my God, this is horrible. The other thing, Dana, when you do it, and especially at the beginning, you just do your bit, it gets some laughs, and you walk off and everyone's doing their job and you're standing in the hallway going, did like 5 million people just see that? I don't even know.
I never really would think about it.
It went out live. It's over.
So, Seth, I want to ask you 2 things in a minute, whether you would ever become the executive producer of the show, because your name's been tossed around.
Great.
And one is my theories about the longevity, and there's probably 10 metrics to this. But one is when you see an athlete or an actor try to do live sketch comedy, you're watching a reality show. And then when you see people who are never heard of them, never seen them, they're just coming on SNL, and you're watching them get their big break, is another reality show. So I don't know if it's whoever thought of the show, but when SNL has a bad show, like say a football player is bombing or whatever, it's still really compelling. And that's kind of not, a bad show for me watching it is pretty compelling, because watching the cast member know it's bad, but holding up the so anyway, why do you think 50 years? I'm sure you're asked all the time. I am.
Well, it's interesting because I think that even though it's compelling, people would still criticize the show for being bad the week that an athlete was bad or an actor ate it. But I will say, a few years after I left, there's this really funny writer on the show who's not there anymore either, Mike O'Brien. And Mike and I were back sitting in an office, and the current writers were complaining about how bad the host was that week. And it was a major movie star who was sort of being impossible. And they were all in such a bad mood, but their stories were so funny about this person's behavior. And we said, look, the good news is this. Like, when you leave the show, you will talk about the disaster week so much more than the weeks that were great. Because it's just so much funnier to remember how terrible someone was. So even though I feel bad for the audience when they watch a terrible week, just know that the writing staff and the cast will be able to dine out on that week for years.
Yes.
In a good way.
Marcy Klein, when she was on, I guess at times she had to, like, the host was having a nervous breakdown at like 11:15. I can't make it. And she had to go talk to,
too much.
Didn't want to give us names because, but the drama behind that show, forget the funniness, just the drama. I don't know how many nights, I'm sure you had this experience, Seth, where I don't know if it's going to make it tonight. It seems like such a shit show. And now it's like almost 11 when we're going into Lauren's office, 50 of us jammed in to get notes, and we're on in 28 minutes. And you keep your bald cap on. It's like a Fellini-esque thing. People have their cold opening fake nose on. It's surreal.
I retroactively feel so terrible about, because I think being a writer on the show, you sometimes forget how human the cast is, because Lauren will give you, again, like you said, at 11:20, Lauren finally lets you out of the office and you're making changes to a cold open that's going to be on TV in 10 minutes. And then the times that I would run up to somebody like Bill Hader, who the minute he started on the show, we started leaning on him for things like impressions, hosts of news shows, which would often be the framing of the cold open. And so here's Hader doing an impression of somebody he didn't even know existed last week. And you're running up to him at 11:24 saying, hey, this line's different, this line's different, this line's different. And you're treating him almost like a computer program and assuming he's going to be able to like process the information and deliver it because that's how it looks. Because ultimately he was so good at it, he would always make you have more confidence in him week after week after week. And then you forget all these years later, oh my God, the anxiety we were putting on that person who had to actually be the one who was on camera doing that job. I mean, you had to do it your whole time on the show, Dana, like the amount you probably started the show with cold opens.
I had a weird trajectory because I came in with Phil and Jan Hooks and Kevin Nealon and so forth. And then I was just happened to be in the first sketch. Madonna did the cold opening on my first show, apologizing for the 85 season, like it never existed. Then it was me, Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks in a game show where I was a game show psychic. I knew the answer before Phil would ask the question, that kind of thing. And then, and that killed, because Phil was so great and Jan, and I was riding that wave. And then I did Church Chat with Sigourney Weaver up, and then I did Chop and Broccoli. So I came in, I had so much
shit.
My ex-manager went to the Stars, Brad Gray, came into my office at like 11:20, same kind of thing. And he talked like this. He goes, I don't know why, but it's your show. It's your show tonight. I don't know why it happened, but it just laid out that way. And
it's very true. It can go any way.
But when you're forced into that, and I was using things from my stand-up, which was helpful. I knew where the hooks were. But the nerves, handling the terror and the nerves, like would you remember your first time you're like really crazy nervous because a sketch was leaning on you? Or you're doing something at Update, because an Update you're talking, and then your chair pivots when you're a guest on Update, and you're kind of thrown out there. That's an interesting vibe as well.
Yeah, I was lucky. The first Update I did that landed, I got to talk as myself. I got to be Seth Meyers, and I was talking. It was I was a Red Sox fan, which is true, and so sometimes when you write from truth, it's a little bit easier. And it was about how I hated the Yankees my whole life. But because of 9/11, I was rooting for the Yankees to win the World Series. But since Red Sox fans never get what they want, I had to root against the Yankees in order for them to win the World. And so it was just, it made sense to me. I'd written it myself. It felt like a piece you would do in stand-up. And I remember that went great. And I walked off, and not to keep calling back Shoemaker, but Shoemaker met me. And I've been giving him shit about this for 20 years. He goes, it'll never go that well ever again. And it was like, hey, I thought I'd take a victory lap, but he was, the reality is he wanted to remind me, and probably, I don't know if you felt like you needed that reminder because that's such a monster for a show, that Sigourney Weaver show. Like it must have been crazy the second week where you realized, it doesn't get like the last week doesn't lead to the next week.
No, I was barely in the show. I think I did Casey Kasem for 30 seconds, and I think Lauren saw me at the party and kind of patted on her shoulder. It goes up and down week to week. Just keep
Brad Gray, 11:20. This isn't your week.
This isn't your show.
It's not your week. Where the cards fell.
I want to just because you mentioned her, I want to tell my favorite Marcy story, which is the promos. The famous SNL, like, hey, this week I'm the host, and you're going to be seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Marcy I had to go with Marcy into the host room to tell them about the promo. And she handed this stack of promos, and the host read them all and said, none of these are funny. And Marcy just took the whole stack and said, well, in that case, I'll throw them in the garbage. and just dropped them in the garbage in front of the host and walked out. And I didn't know we were allowed to talk to the host like that.
I was in charge of promos for 2 years. It's the roughest job. It's the most thankless garbage job. But you get to meet the host.
Yeah. Shoemaker has a few promos that Farley wrote in his office that are really funny and unusable. It will not surprise you. They are unusable.
Yeah, I think I was there for those, and they come down. David, I wrote some because they'd sometimes go up to the writing room and go, everybody kick in a few fucking promos. Stop for a second. We need something. And then I'd gather them and go down. And then there's a couple stink bombs in there from Farley. I think he'd write himself in some of them too. But they would also throw in cast members. They say, hey, bring Chris down or bring in, whoever they thought was funny that week to do a promo with the host.
My worst host dressing room was Mick Jagger wanted just a first joke in his monologue. And so Mulaney and I had a piece of paper where we'd written 15 jokes that we collected from the writing staff about that he could say as his first joke. And our plan was just to go back and forth. And Mulaney read the first one, and Mick Jagger didn't laugh. And he goes, "What's the next one?" And Mulaney handed me this piece of paper, and I read him the second one, and he didn't laugh. And he goes, "What's the next one?" And I handed it back to Mulaney, and there were very clearly 15 on it. And John goes, "That is all we have." Because we just realized we put our favorite two first. And the fact that he had broken his smile, we're like, it's only going to get worse. Let's just spare us all the embarrassment.
And then you just kind of walked out, or see you later, Mick.
Yeah, we just kind of walked out and said, let's just go back to the drawing board. I think it's very clear that we don't have the answer on these pages.
Did you ever find something that he landed? Did you remember it? No.
I bet if we go back and watch the monologue from that show, the answer is no.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So
there is that thing which I know is a bummer to hear, which is sometimes sometimes it is, "Hey, it's so great to be here." Like you just have to start saying words and let the audience know.
Yeah.
That this show is the first update joke is very rarely the best update joke, almost because you're just trying to like pull the focus in,
Settle them in,
and get people to pay attention.
I think that the guest hosts that do Q&A from the audience is maybe one of the more fail-safe.
I love a Q&A from the audience.
You have all those different flavors.
and you get the cast to fucking act like they're in the audience.
I think I wrote one for Walken where he had written questions he wanted the audience to ask him.
It's funny.
That was my...
Where do you buy your pudding? Sorry.
Read the one I told you, instructed you to read before. He exposes it right away.
Monologues, solo venture. Well, that's why they call him Mono One. Just making it up.
Singular.
I wrote a sketch for him my first or second year, and I was a sketch called Pranksters, which I'm still pretty proud of. And it was one of those sketches that killed at the table, and then we got in the rewrite room, and because it had killed at the table, everybody had a lot of ideas. Sometimes you can overwrite it. And so then we bring it out, and we're rehearsing with Walken, and we get like 2 pages into the new version, and he just stops. He goes, "You ruined it." He goes, "You got to go back to the way it was." And we did. I mean, it worked great, but he was right. It's that thing of sometimes, you can overwrite. You can think, joke on a joke on a joke. It's no good.
All right, before we let Seth go, Dana, ask him.
Is this normal? Is this a normal amount of time?
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you short.
No, I have just one question for him. But do you have one, David?
Well, I was going to see who he thinks might want to take over. Who could handle that job, if anyone?
I don't think anybody can handle that job, and I'm being genuine.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's a one man? It's a one man. There's only one man. There's only one man for the job.
If you really think about the lanes that Lorne has to fill, it's pretty big. And how he resisted, it's got to go to 1 hour. Or it should be more pre-tapes. Or you need a new theme for the band. So this was decades. Anytime there was a dip in the show, he had the corporate trust or whatever, Universal Now, whoever he had to talk to, and he held it steady. And now you think, God, isn't it brilliant that it just stayed branded, identical? Yes. That's why everyone we've talked to on this podcast, everyone's had the same experience, the same tiny room, the 8H, all of it. So,
yeah, I mean, and it also, no, I think it's different. No, I think the other part that people forget is that Lorne's status as a icon is incredibly important based on every host that comes through those doors, because everyone knows who he is. And because of that, everyone from all walks of entertainment or politics or sports trusts him. And it only works if the host trusts him. And if it was somebody else, look, it could be, somebody who maybe worked on the show before, or maybe was a successful producer somewhere else, but no one's going to have that cultural currency with every single person who comes in there.
And also they don't act up, the host, because they go, this is a guy, just the respect of 50 years. And so if it's someone new, they know they sort of outrank them.
Yeah.
Like they do on a movie set or something, so they can sort of get away with their shenanigans.
Yeah, because he knows everybody's seen it all. And the unflappable Lorne character, which he cultivated as part of his comic persona, that he would never panic. And in the first year he was out there with my first few shows, he'd had a glass of Chardonnay on 8H. The show's going on in between sketches. Oh, this has to breathe. So I guess he has a calming effect to a host.
Yeah.
You'll do this and it'll be great. You're going to be happy at the party. And, he's very good at public relations.
It's also, I think when I hosted, and at this point, I feel like I knew Lorne as well as you could know him.
Mhm.
And I remember right before a sketch, he sort of walked over and I thought, oh, this is going to be this new experience with Lorne. I'm going to find out what is it that he says to hosts right before sketches start, because that's the one thing I'd never been privy to, despite all the time I spent. And he walked over and he said some version of and just walked away, like literally barely a word. just a sort of a nod. And I was like, that is part of his enduring talents in this field is sometimes knowing when not to say anything. Mm-hmm. And I think very few people have it in power in show business. Very people know how sometimes saying less is more.
This sketch has to breathe. That's right before you're starting.
Seth, let's not fuck this up.
This is one of my last show, because I stayed through about halfway through my last season before I left, and it was the Super Bowl episode, and I wrote a sketch for Melissa McCarthy where she had ordered a bunch of wings for a Super Bowl party, and it was very obvious there was no one at her house, but she was pretending to yell at people off camera to explain why she had these like 3 trays of chicken wings. And I was under the bleachers with Lorne, and it just played to silence. Oh my God. And Lorne, when it was over, looked at me and goes, and again, this is my last show, and I'd been there, 12 and a half years, was a long time. And he looked at me and goes, "What am I going to do without you?"
That's a great.
Yeah.
I also, my favorite, I think my favorite Under the Bleachers, it's a Lovett story. When you hosted, Dana, Lovitz came to the show. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You need me?
And it was such a dream, in the same way that it was a dream to spend a week working and writing with Dana. And also, let me note, Sean Penn's Celebrity Roast was a sketch I wrote when you were there, Spade.
Was I Owen Wilson?
You were Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
That is a real feather in my cap as well.
Great one.
It was a great one. But Lovitz walked underneath the bleachers right before the show started and goes, started shaking all their hands, goes, John Lovitz. And then he turned to Lauren and went, "And you are?"
Yeah.
That's perfect.
He loved
his favorite thing.
Dinging Lauren in the, when you would pitch ideas, for an hour on Monday and the host is sitting there and everyone's pitching. And then the very end, John would always go, "Lauren, what are your ideas?" I go, "John, why are you trying to disturb our boss?"
I was there for Will Ferrell's final show because we overlapped for 1 year. And the last pitch, Will brought in an old typewriter. And every time while people pitched, he was typing as if it was his job to write them all down. And it was this really loud typewriter. So people would pitch and be like, and there's so few laughs in pitch on something. No shit. So it's just this really loud, and he would go, and Will went last at pitch, and it went all the way around. And then Lauren goes, "Will," and Will just basically like rolls up the paper on the way you do on typewriters. And then he just very quietly reads through everything he typed, and he said, "No, I think we're good." And
see, I never got that comfortable to do something, but I love that Will has that looseness to him to just do that. I was just, the show always had some anxiety to it.
That idea. I've never, a bit in Lauren's room.
Oh, in front of the host you don't know.
Yeah, that would be hard.
So, Seth, you're going back. You're going to do the show.
I don't know when this will air, but we will be back doing shows again. I'm going to start in a couple of days. And it's the
craziest, just for a second, the craziest political environment ever, I think. I mean, they say it every time, but say kind of the craziest. So how are you look forward to it? How are you going to manage it? I mean, you do the closer looks, you do your comedy.
Yeah, it's really nice because the closer look is this thing that we sort of built that can kind of hold anything. Mm-hmm. And so we don't need any one kind of news to know we have a show.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of have this bucket that we can fill with whatever we want. And I would certainly rather live in boring times, don't get me wrong, but it is processing the anxiety is easier with a show than just walking around muttering to myself in the streets. So I'm happy to be back with other people that also think it's fucking crazy. One of my writers, Sal Gentile, who writes A Closer Look, described our show as written for and by the formerly sane, and we try to keep that as the way we approach things.
How are you? I mean, because everything is like we have these two horses in the race: Trump,
Yes.
and he's got his indictments, and he's Trump, and then we have Biden, who even in the Washington Post, New York Times, are kind of going, hello, is everything okay over there? You know, so how do you navigate that? Have you done a closer look on current Biden? Because when he first came out, I didn't really know how to get an angle on him at all, but now he's more interesting.
It's sort of day to day, but I think that as we get closer and we get more into, debate
Who's the
type
nominee
stuff. I mean, obviously it kind of goes without saying it'll be him. And so there won't be a situation where we have, it's obviously not going to be a Democratic primary season. And it was interesting for us last time, but then fascinating how quickly it became a Biden show.
Yeah.
I thought that we were going to have 10 Democratic candidates and it would go on until the very, I certainly thought it would be a Super Tuesday situation. It was nuts that it was sort of over by South Carolina.
Right.
So we have, that sort of then takes your focus on it because Biden, other than, the general, he hasn't been a part of a horse race for years. And back when he was in horse races, he was never close enough to be considered, a front runner. It's funny how little he, even appeared, I guess, 88 when who played Biden in your era?
In 88, I wonder if I was assigned Bush. I don't know who would have done him. He may have dropped out soon enough that we didn't do him.
Yeah, never had to.
I mean, I just remember
Stockdale.
Dacus did him in 2010.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Suds. I used to write those for Suds. Suds was it's funny because
Suds.
Suds, and we call them Suds.
Yeah.
But Suds
he had a
did
funny
them,
take
and it
on
was
Biden. Yeah.
very fun. I would do this on stage that I think that when, again, I didn't think he was going to be the nominee, that like when he ran for president in 2020, that Obama must have thought, you thought my vice president wasn't the last job you were ever going to have? Like you thought it was a stepping stone job?
Joe, you don't have to do this, Joe. Joe, you don't have to do it. No. But what I did was I looked at the town halls because I looked at him in 2012 in his debate, vice presidential debate with what's his name?
Ryan.
And
Ryan.
he was pretty strong. He was.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the town halls, he just had different rhythms, different stories, a different kind of attitude. But it's very interesting. It's such a hot oven out there, and my style is I do both. I'll do Trump, and my Trump. I think all of our Trumps got a little better because of James Austin Johnson, who made it into good. Jazz. I mean, he's got breathing techniques. I mean, his Trump is crazy brilliant, and your Trump has gotten really, really good because I saw it recently.
Thank you.
And what did
I try not to think about it at all. I try to just let Trump speak through me. Which I feel
what's your hook into Trump? Do you have because mine is that he always sounds like he's pitching a family vacation. We're going to be going things the way you won't believe. We're going to do it. And people say no, but we're going to do it anyway. All that kind of stuff. So
I like the one that we keep coming back to is that big guy, strong guy, tears in his eyes. Like that, these makeup stories about sort of, it's always, vague, amorphous people, but they're always very big, very strong, and very, very emotional about how much they miss him. And I love.
There's so many hits that he has. Like he's a stone cold loser. Is a great one.
A lot of people are saying. I haven't heard anything. No.
What a beauty! Not a 10. Not a 10. She's not my type. I mean, he has like a million.
He's deeply funny.
Phrases,
he is deeply
funny. The Biden thing. The only thing that made me laugh was when he does the whispering. Because the rich don't pay their fair share. And then he goes really loud because I know how to be down. It says, I can't believe it's not butter. So that whisper to the yell was the hook that got me.
It was really good. The first time I saw you do the whisper thing on Colbert, it was a real that's it.
My dad lost his job. No joke. Not getting around here.
No joke.
Number one, the 2-part. Number 2, the 3. But you know what? We're all in this ecosystem, so run with anything.
I remember 2012 that you mentioned the vice presidential debate, and in those years, Paul Ryan. I would write sort of a template debate sketch, but then everybody would pitch in based on having watched the debate. And I remember my phone rang, and it was Downey, the aforementioned Jim Downey, former head writer, legendary SNL staff member. And he had this bit that made it in, which was my favorite bit of that debate, which was how Biden kept talking about Scranton and how he's from Scranton, but made Scranton sound like a super shitty place. And it was just like, I'm from Scranton. This is a backwater. These are hard scrabble people. You drive through Scranton, roll up your windows. And it was just a really funny Downey observation that Biden talked about his hometown, both from a point of pride and also like never fucking go there.
Well, he tells a story recently. I think it was kind of funny that he, I'm 8 years old and I see 2 men on the street, Scranton, Pennsylvania. They're kissing. I asked my pops, what's that? And my pop says, that's love. That's just love, son. A Teamster from 1953 talking like that. It feels very woke. I don't know, but
God love him. God love him.
Well, God bless America.
Thank you, Seth.
Thanks for coming on. You're a key piece of Saturday Night Live history. This is where I go into my, an amazing run on Saturday Night Live. And, one of the very few people is just, where are you going to work? Rockefeller Center, which is a magic building, a magic place.
Lucky.
It's where Kenny Among worked.
Oh, yeah.
The great
David,
Kenny,
how are you?
Shoemaker, please say hello. And
I will.
Congratulations on just having a cool show to go to.
Thanks, guys. Come back. Come visit us soon now that we're going to be back doing it again.
I'm going to come in that hot seat again. I'm going to get in the hot seat.
Get in the fucking hot seat.
Okay.
And I'm going to just go crazy. I'm going to go completely just
unusable. Unusable.
No, just go super high energy and just rather than kind of lean into my age, I'm just going to get some 500 and just go nuts. I'm just telling you now.
Can't wait.
Okay.
Good to see you,
guys.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, guys.
This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13. Executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13. Dusty Slay is on, Dana, and Dusty, our SNL crowd might not be familiar with him, but very funny comic that I've seen and worked with and thought we'd expose him to just a bigger crowd. Super cool Southern gentleman.
Dusty Slay has a new special on Netflix called Working Man.
Yeah.
He's very sly and clever. He's low key. He doesn't even feel like he's performing at all.
Yeah.
It's like he just kind of shows up. Great writer, really funny, sweet guy. It was an interesting
interesting chat. Little Mitch Hedberg in there. There's a lot of he's got his influences and he's got long hair, wears a trucker hat a lot. Any of these Southern comics or whatever they're described as, Theo. There's a lot of them. There's a lot coming in that are great, a whole new wave, and he cracks me up. He's got some good, clever stuff, and he's funny to chat with.
Yeah, the thing I came away with, Jesus is a really nice, earnest guy.
Yeah,
that really doesn't feel show busy at all. Humble and funny. Yeah. I hope you enjoy it.
The opposite of me. I'm super show busy.
Cocky and only marginally
gross. You know him, David Spade. All right, here's Dusty. No, I do think you have a crazy crew. You've got Brian Breakfast Bates. Where does that nickname come from? Do you call him Breakfast?
Well, I think Breakfast is one of my favorites of his nicknames, but people call him every B word that they can think
Oh.
of becomes his nickname.
Oh, okay, bastard, bitch.
Well, it's a clean podcast, so they keep it clean.
Yeah.
Knucklehead
that's
was
right.
spelled with a B.
Yeah, I mean, if they could get away with bastard or bitch on there, it would be there.
I love it.
Dusty Slay, Dana, for our listeners, is a very funny comedian. He is from Charleston, South Carolina. I saw him do a really funny set on Jimmy Fallon.
Crushed on Fallon. Crushed on Netflix.
Really crushed.
He has
his
Sarandos
podcast.
his home number.
Oh, yeah. Ted Sarandos is your buddy, right?
Who is my buddy?
The president of Netflix. We're just kidding.
Oh, yeah, we're best friends. I mean, I'll
Okay.
be his friend. I mean, he's been hooking me up, but not to offend my own hometown. I lived in Charleston, South Carolina for 10 years, but I'm from a town called Opelika, Alabama. Just in case, they're tuning in, I want them to know I've not forgotten about them.
Do they have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, in some parts. My dad actually lives outside of Opelika, and he was getting internet on an antenna for a long time.
Whoa. We
Oh.
had an antenna on top of the house that you'd have to go up and they would turn it. My brother would turn it and then you'd yell, okay, it looks good. We're going
What
way
city? Missoula?
back. Missoula, and then, the Bay Area, Peninsula, San
Oh.
Carlos, near San Francisco.
Dana was early in Missoula, Montana, and then San
Yes.
Fran area.
I was,
Okay.
my wife was just up in Montana visiting relatives. So we've got some kind of countrified vibe.
I
was
love
born
Montana.
there.
I'm a big fan of Montana.
Yeah, Western Montana in the summer, it's kind of like, okay, why would anyone ever be anywhere else?
Yeah, I did. I did a few cities. I don't know what side of Montana it was, but it was so great. But yeah, it's the winter that gets you.
The 70 below, it gets your attention.
Sounds good at first, and then
It's
Yeah,
almost
you
as
know-
big as California, and it's got like 700,000 people. I mean, it's that because of the winter. Oh,
Yes.
they can't get people in there.
The winter's brutal. Yeah.
Where is your accent right now within the southern continuum? Is it a little
Yeah.
combo of Alabama and North Carolina? Or?
I don't know what's happening. My wife
changing.
is Canadian.
So
and
is my wife.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. I grew up in
Canada
Alabama.
churns them out.
Alabama, mostly, right?
And my brother-in-law was from Michigan. He started dating my sister. My sister's 11 years older than me. So he came into my life very young. My accent started to get mixed up. Then I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, where all my friends were like from Ohio. And then I moved back to Nashville and I got a little Southern again. But it's a real mixed up accent.
When did you add the nasal?
I think that's always been there. I think I got kneed in the throat one time when I was on the wrestling team, and I was talking raspy after that, and I kind of think it stuck.
It's kind of good. It's very unique. It's at least, you need things to stand out.
I
Yeah.
always wondered, like, when I was in high school and I ran track and cross country, and then you go in the gym and you see the dudes wrestling. It never had any appeal for me. I would have been in the 90-pound weight class. I don't know if is there something lighter than flyweight as a freshman anyway?
Well, I think the light weight class is where you want to be. If you're real ripped. My problem was I was in a fairly light weight class, but the guy that I had to wrestle against was like, just shredded. Like there was no reason we were supposed to weigh the same. This guy was
I
a
didn't
mach-
join because were you allowed to wrestle if you weren't gay? This is a real question. No, I'm kidding. Dana, I was in weightlifting, and we'll delete that. When I was in weightlifting, why was I in weightlifting? We don't know. I weighed 114, but it was an elective. And when I was a sophomore, I could bench 185, Dana, when I was 114.
No, you didn't.
Yep.
Let's keep
And
it
then-
truthy here.
I think
he's
I've
got
met
the
a-
clean podcast. We have the sometimes fibbing.
No, but I'm going
But-
to weigh in with Dusty. Do you think a 114-pound high school could honestly bench 180 pounds?
I
For
think that'd be
one.
tough. I don't really know the translation. I don't know how it works out.
Me
That
neither.
seems like a lot.
You're like, it
I
sounds
met
like
a
more than your body weight. Well,
Uber
no,
driver
Dusty,
in Arizona, I think, who said he took weightlifting with you.
for real?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. And it checks out because I wasn't any good. I didn't really lift the weights per se. I think that was just like a suggestion. But we were in a weightlifting room the whole day. And I'm like, do we actually get around to it or do I just lay down and take a supervised
Let me do
nap?
adolescent rite of passage.
Mhm.
What's the most push-ups you've ever done in your life? Honest push-ups.
Well, I mean, I went through a little workout phase. I mean, I would say I maybe did 40. At one point, I was really lifting it. I was getting wild. I got beat up one time as a drinker, and then I really hit the weights after that.
You know, it's funny, but you're still drunk, which makes it harder to fight. That's you know what I mean? That's the bummer.
But you don't feel the punches.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I did get punched a lot, and I took it pretty well because I was pretty drunk.
Yeah, my brother came home. I had 3 older brothers. He had 10 Heinekens. He was like 18. He'd never drank in his life. And he had pink popcorn at the fair and threw all up over my dad's car. So then he came in and he was so drunk. My dad was he was sitting on the bed and he was doing left, right. I thought I was witnessing something real horrible. But my dad broke his hand on his head the first punch.
Wait, they were fighting right when he came in?
No, Mark was just drunk. So he was just sitting on the bed in a stupor with a smile on his face. My dad was just unloading on him. Who weighed about 180, but he broke his hand, and then we had to tell everybody for weeks that he bumped it on the coffee table.
Wow, that seems like a very tragic story that you just
told
that
like got very tragic, very light, tragic story.
You know, the Carveys, we were just like the sons of Katie Elder. We were, hard driving, just, I mean,
fighting Carveys.
It was the 60s. How was your childhood? I mean, was it violent like that? Or was it
I mean, I grew up in a trailer park and it was like, there was every reason that it should have been violent, but it was pretty chill. I mean, people were drinking around me, but they were having a good time.
You're our first trailer park guest. That's fascinating.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, thanks for having me. I guess that you've excluded trailer park people up until this point. So I'm happy to break the barrier.
Well, the cliche of trailer park is the word trailer park trash. I didn't invent it. It's become kind of a meme. So what was your experience? Like nice neighbors, kind of fun. You didn't feel you were poor. It was just cool. I mean, I assume.
Yeah.
All of the above? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, I answered the question.
Yeah. I mean, that is it. I mean, I thought you were reading my bio.
That's what I assume. That cliches are often not true.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely the cliched people in my trailer park. But yeah, I mean, we had our trailer was a little messy. My mom dated some married men. I have sisters not related to each other, but we were all having a good time,
Well, wait a minute. So that became which I love your, I don't know, reoccurring phrase. I don't want to call it a catchphrase. We're having a good
mantra.
time.
Yeah.
So people,
I like a mantra.
Just a quick plug in the middle of the interview. We're having a good time. Dusty Slade, Netflix, sitting there. Really great stand-up special. Written
Thank you.
Tight, funny. And you come off, I think you're maybe the most like casual guy coming out there. I mean, there's no pretense. I mean, it's like you're just hanging out. It's I come out like a dancing monkey, trying to get a laugh, and you come out so chill. It's very relaxing to watch, and then it gets just funnier and funnier.
Well, yeah, I started doing comedy. I started doing improv first, and I was never very good at playing a character. And everybody would come out. I was doing improv with very good improvisers, but they would all come out and they would be doing a thing and they would be real silly. And I always had a hard time doing that. I don't know. I feel like that it's like, I don't know. I don't want to take myself so serious that I'm just coming out I just want to tell you these things and I hope you laugh at them, sort of thing.
Yeah. Improv is terrifying. I like in his bio, Dana, it says, Slay moved to Charleston, South Carolina and joined the hot improv comedy scene of South Carolina. Is that a big comedy?
Is that in my bio?
Improv. Yeah. It's funny. I was in Charleston 2 days ago, dude. How about that? I've never been there.
It's also in your bio that you hate wearing hats.
Oh, okay.
It's in your bio.
People just write bios. I don't know how they end up.
It's all made up.
Yeah.
I should be a bio writer. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm always looking for a bio writer, but because a bio gets written And then it just is out there. And then
Bio is the funniest word.
And then I go and I do a corporate event and people are reading the bio and I'm like, oh, don't read that. Just bring me out.
They introduce you. This next guy grew up in a trailer park in Opelika, Alabama.
Right. I'm like,
after high school, he enlisted in the army, but did not attend boot camp due to legal issues. What the fuck is that?
Is that in my bio? I mean,
that's your introduction.
Yes.
Well, I joined the army, and in between joining and getting shipped off, I got arrested for weed and alcohol, so I couldn't go because my court date came after my ship off date.
Oh, I thought it was spinal bifida.
No, that's the legal issue. I don't know why they listed it as a legal issue, like I didn't pay my taxes. We got
a real Trump on our
alcohol
hands.
was legal, but weed was illegal, I assume, at that point.
Yeah, I mean, well, I got arrested for underage consumption. I was 19 and I had an open bottle in my car, and the policeman, he put me in the car, and then he comes back and he said, you're under arrest for the underage consumption of alcohol. And then he goes back to my car, finds the weed. And as he's putting my buddy in the car, he goes, oh, by the way, you're also under arrest for possession of marijuana. And I'm basically like, I'm trying to join the army and clean up my life, right? Yeah. So you're going to arrest me, and now I'm going to live in a trailer for the next 2 years doing worse drugs.
Who was your lawyer, Kid Rock?
I don't know if this is my brother. My brother drove through the South with a friend, and he had a guy pull him over, and he has a pretty good ear, and it was like, I'd like you boys to step outside of the car right now. And it was kind of scary because movies that are, again, sort of stereotypical of the Southern sheriff is a little, you don't want to hear that in that accent.
Yeah. Well, I was living in Alabama, and I didn't want to hear it in that accent. I didn't want to hear it in any accent, though, to be honest with you.
And that really must have bummed you out because you honestly were trying to clean up your life and go in the army, right?
Yeah, I had gone, I was working at Western Sizzlin', and I was getting high all the time. And this guy was telling me about how
Western
Sizzlin'?
Yeah.
What is that?
Is that a restaurant?
Yeah, it's a steakhouse. It just closed. The one in Opelika just closed this past Saturday. It's a very sad day.
Did they say Dusty Slade work there with a plaque or anything?
They did not. I made a joke about him on my Netflix special and about people sweating into the green beans. And I don't think
that wasn't the promo they were looking for. They closed a week later.
Now, were you a waiter or a busboy or dishwasher?
I was a waiter. I was the only waiter. It was all 50-year-old women, and I was an 18-year-old boy working there.
Mm-hmm.
I am Dusty. I'd like to check out our specials. We have catfish and carp.
Yeah, and then I would get a quarter for a tip, and so when the guy was like, joining the army was great, I got to see a lot of the world. I was like, oh yeah, I'm into that. So I went to the recruiter's office right after work and joined.
Meanwhile, you're a dishwasher in the army.
You got the idea, and right after work, you took off your apron like Norman Ray.
Yeah,
went to a recruiter's place.
Yeah, and they were like happy to see me walk in. They were like, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then they helped me, they talked to me about getting off weed and, this and that. And I start running. I start learning the military alphabet. I mean, I am all in.
A, B, C. What's the military alphabet again?
Like alpha, beta, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Call signs.
Charlie. Something like that.
That's right. Charlie won.
Yeah.
Good to kill.
I didn't learn it. I started.
Yeah. Alpha, rabbit, hamster.
Did you actually sign up, or you're just sort of getting ready to be going to boot camp?
Yeah. Well, I signed up, and we went and did the physical and everything where they go and examine your body.
Doctor shrugs his shoulders and goes, "He'll do."
Yeah, exactly. They they can do weird things and. They touch you and they look at your butthole and stuff like that. And then,
okay, what's the bad part?
Well,
sorry,
are we back to the policeman, or was that still at the doctor?
Well, none of it was bad except for, they tell you, they're like, you can't tell them you ever smoked weed or did any other drugs, or you won't be able to get in. And so it's like the government teaching you to lie to the government to work for the government, sort of thing.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know why we're doing this. Let's just be honest about it, But my recruiter, when I get home, he goes, all right, I know I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I know
It's
you
like
like
your
to.
agent.
Yeah, yes, exactly. He's like, I know you like to smoke weed, and they're going to drug test you when you get shipped off in 30 days. So if you want to do it tonight. And then that night I got arrested for weed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
What
and
a bummer.
it worked
dude.
out. I would have been shipped off in August of 2001. So I would have been in boot camp when September
you would've-
11th happened.
Oh
So-
no.
Yeah, just a more particular time to
Dusty,
be in the military.
You're going to
Right.
Afghanistan tomorrow.
I know. So it really worked out. I mean, I was hoping to go to like, I don't know, Amsterdam and Thailand and places like that. And instead I was like, yeah, I'd be fighting.
You really would have been fighting. I know people.
Did you
went there.
really? Did you think that there's some scenario where you'd be fighting, or was that the whole idea?
No, it's like, that it seems weird to even think about, but during that time, there was like a real moment of peace, at least what we were being told.
You
anyway.
could have
I
maybe
mean,
scammed through
Pre
in and out in 4
9/11,
years.
1990s, pre 9/11.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to get some free college here, see a little bit of the world, and I'm going to get right out of here. It's just
Right.
going to be a good time for me.
Yeah.
You're like, they go, oh my God, Dusty, the Twin Towers blew up, and then planes hit them right after. Conspiracy.
Yeah, but sign right here. Turn the TV off. Just turn the TV off. The towers are going down.
Sign,
Here.
sign. Go.
Mr. Slay.
Yeah, and instead I was like sleeping on a couch in my room, and my sister called me and she goes, "Hey, planes just hit the Twin Towers," and I was like, what's that? And I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea anything.
She's
Wow.
like, you didn't know what she meant because she goes, Dusty, 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And you go, what does that mean?
I go, is that what time it is? Yeah. I mean, I'm like,
She's like, well, this will be called 9/11, but today's 9/11.
yeah, she was in on it.
Now let's get back to the fact that you're friends with Kid Rock because you're from wherever, Nashville.
I
you
have
go
met
there, right?
Kid Rock a couple of
You
times.
have to. He's
So you're
the
very
mayor.
close friends, right?
Yeah, best friends. He
See, 'cause
loans me
Kid
money.
Rock is funny because he's sort of the mayor of Nashville. He runs around, and when I play Zanies, I don't know many people. I actually invited Carrie Underwood once. She was nice enough to come down. She, yeah, I don't really know her that well. She's super sweet. Came down to goddamn Zanies. They were flipping out over her, of course. Kid Rock, that goddamn goat roper, came down, and then we went to his place. But he's one of those guys that he has such a horrible rap right now. But I always liked the guy. He did me a huge favor. He came blindly into the Joe Dirt to do it. He
And he
just
gave
said
him-
if.
And that's the best
and he-
movie role he's ever had. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it when I was in Charleston. I'm not even lying. I haven't seen it in 10 years. It was on, and so I was just watching it, going, "Oh, I don't remember this," And Christopher Walken was sounding so Christopher Walken, Dana. It was so funny how crazy he did his lines. Loved him. But I saw Kid Rock, and I was like, God, he is good in this. And people are like, you should never talk to him again. And I go, well, you can't start with someone like have a good beginning of a friendship, and then the way he thinks now and talks. I just think we're always.
What is the problem with?
But you know what it is.
People
They go,
having
"Don't get a
different
picture with
opinions.
him."
I
I'm
don't.
like,
I don't.
I
I'm not
know.
aware of it. I'm just like maybe he has a different point of view on America.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah.
Robbie is a great character. He goes, "Did I get you dirt?" He goes, "No, I'm cool." He goes, "No, you're not." I mean, that's like the best line ever. I mean, it's like
He sprays me with rocks, I think twice or three times with his Trans Am. It's so, that Trans Am had 87 miles on it. For some reason, they got us the best, newest Trans Am. And movie cars are a big deal. They just sold the main Joe Dirt car a month ago in an auction, and I should have bought it, but it's too much, $300,000 or something. But
but it's these
the
movies, these comedies from the 90s, they just get shinier and brighter as time goes on. Because then you look at Joe Dirt on TV and you go, this is just really funny and so silly, and I'm very happy watching it.
Right. He pulled up in this thing to yell at me and Christopher Walken at the end of the movie, and he climbs up out of the sunroof to yell at us. And the stupid story, Dana, that we have this car that's like immaculate for some reason. Instead of just an old Trans Am we rode in, they brought us a great one. I'm like, we don't need a great one. And then, of course, he ripped the fucking seat fabric with his shoe while he's climbing up. And then they had a conniption fit. No, Kid Rock.
Oh, Kid
And
Rock.
so they're like, oh, you damaged this perfect car. I'm like, oh my God, that was a big story that day. Of course, now who cares? But then, because I tried to buy that car too. We tried to get Hi, My Name Is from Eminem for the trailer, and Kid Rock was his buddy. And we couldn't get it for the price, but Eminem did come to the premiere, which is I love because I love Eminem. But overall, we're back to Kid Rock. Kid Rock did a great job. He's fun. Every time I go to Nashville, I see him. I see him sometimes in LA. But yeah, there is that thing where people go, don't get a picture with him. I go, just relax. I'll get a picture with whoever.
I did the Kid Rock Comedy Jam at the Ryman. It was great. Last year I did it, not this year. I didn't get invited back, but I had a hot set. But no, it was good. It was great. And I saw him at Zany's. And yeah, I mean.
He likes to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, if I were still drinking, I mean, it'd be a blast. I mean, I would have never made it to where I'm at in comedy if I had kept drinking. But if I were still drinking, I mean, I'd be all about a Kid Rock party. I think.
Could I ask you, because I'm always curious about, well, at your peak, how much were you consuming and of what type of alcohol?
Well, the thing for me, for some reason, this was always in my mind, and I don't know why, but I always wanted to take a sober day. Each week, I was like, I got to have one sober day. And I think that really,
I'm not really a drunk.
Yeah, I think so. And I think in the end that helped me, right? Because I got buddies that would stop and they go through all these weird alcohol withdrawals and have hallucinations. It didn't really happen to me. I was mainly drinking like Bud Light, or I liked a Coors Heavy. That was my favorites. But I also would get into
Coors
bourbon, you know, like the banquet beer. That's what I always called it, was the Coors Heavy.
Right. Yeah,
I like
pretty light.
Yeah. Bourbon. There was a bar in Charleston. It was on James Island called the Oasis. And it was this real trashy bar where you could smoke cigarettes inside. And they would do buy one, get two free bourbons. So we would go there and just we would get a triple bourbon with a little taste of Coke in there. And that's what we would drink. And, you know, smoke Black and Milds and stuff and just really just destroy ourselves. And, but you know, it was a good time. You know, it was in my 20s, and then I quit at 29. So, you know, I'm able to look back and joke about it. You look good.
What are you, 55?
Yeah, 62. And
you look great. What are you, 70?
62 today, according to your bio.
So you look back. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You look back. I'm glad you did it.
You look back, and now, you know, the thing is that drinking, when human beings eat a quart of ice cream or drink two, you know, every human consumption thing is kind of funny. I mean, there's a point, if there's a DUI or a tragedy, it's a tragedy, but it's funny. Just a human being drinking so much alcohol, they're throwing up. Did you get hangovers much, or were you just someone who didn't get hangovers?
Oh, I got all of the things. You know, I would get hangovers. I would black out sometimes. I would throw up something, because people say you either throw up or you black out. And I would do a little of both, you know. I mean, I would
mix it up.
Yeah, you know, I've been known to have brunch, go have some, you know, champagne and orange juice, and then as we switch from brunch to kind of happy hour time, you move on to a bourbon, and then they don't really mix, and then you go throw up, and you come back and you go, all right, I'm good now.
I don't like that comeback guy. Once you throw up, just tap out. But nope, it ain't over.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it a lot. Usually, throw up would you know, I would be out. But, you know, sometimes
put a damper on the afternoon.
Yeah, you just, you know, you clean up and you come back in, you know.
I always tell people, if they ask me, like, there's nothing more dangerous than an insecure man after midnight with alcohol in his system. So did you ever have to fight?
Well, I would say I was that guy. You know, I was that insecure.
So you were throwing punches.
Yeah, I mean, I would get into fights, but mainly it was all verbal stuff. You know, I've always been very good at talking trash, like at least as a drinker. But I'm like
nothing to back it up.
Can you remember one of your lines?
Well, I say good, but I mean, you know, I was just good at like getting to the, you know, really getting to someone in a way to where they're like. They didn't want to do anything. They were like, I don't know if this guy can fight or not, but I would rather
tapped
not.
out.
Yeah, you never know. That's the thing, is you gamble that they don't want to fight. You just want to sound cool in front of the ladies at 2 a.m.
Right. But, you know, I only got beat up one time. So I feel like for all the times I trash talk, that was pretty good. I mean, I always had a lot of buddies that were pretty good fighters, or at least seemed like it, and they liked me. They liked to get wild, and so they kind of wanted a reason to fight, and I was like that guy. It never really came to that.
I last had a fist fight in 7th grade, okay, and that was like a big thing, scary. But I wonder, as an adult, when you're in a bar fight, the moment where you realize in your own mind, I'm getting beaten up right now. Like, is it sudden?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm losing.
Sucks.
Yeah. That must be a terrible feeling.
Yeah, that moment was my face was on the sidewalk and a guy was punching me in the face. And I was like, okay, I'm about done with this, And
that's that when I'm getting beat up like that, I go, hey, what are we even doing here? What are we doing? like once you start losing, you change your tune a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, this is immature, guys.
This is so dumb.
And I got up and I had a good attitude about it. I said, I had this coming, and sure, we tried to find the guy, but I had this coming.
I don't think I'd be a big shake hands guy after. I see people do that. I don't know if I love that.
No, I don't like that either. I'm not that good of a sportsman.
No,
just walk away.
Yeah.
So you're 29. You quit drinking. I don't know what. Tell us. I just want to hear how you became Dusty Slay, the headlining comic. Fighting through that battlefield emotionally.
Well, at 29,
pesticide salesman.
Yeah. Well, I was selling pesticides all this time, and I think that was part of it, right? As I was
so
like,
excellent.
I hated my job during the day.
You go door to door. You go door to door and go, "Ants be gone."
I would go to Lowe's and Home Depot. I was a sales rep.
Oh, gotcha.
So I would go to the manager and be like, "Hey, good Spectracide display would really look good here by the front door." And then he'd go, "Nah, we're not going to do that." And then, so when he left, I would tear down the display that was there, and then I would build mine there.
What a dick!
And build that. Oh, you just when he was gone, you just displace it and put your own
all the time.
one.
Yeah.
Your company must have loved you.
You don't sound proud of that.
That's what they want you to do. That's what they wanted you to do. And it was all about the picture. You just had to get the picture of the display. It didn't matter what happened after.
And then send it back into them, and then they'd be like, wow, that's awesome.
And then they put you in the bulletin, and then they go, oh, Dusty Slay's getting some big wins down in Charleston.
Some big W's down at the Piggly Wiggly.
So you got money for the first time in your life, maybe.
Yeah. So I was, so then, and I was also waiting tables downtown, Charleston. So I was like, I was in with the real drinking crew. But I'd started doing improv and stand up, and then at 2011, I won the local comedy competition. So I won $1,000, and I was like, all right, that's what
how many years of doing it before you won that?
I would say three good years.
Three good years of actually working on it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah. And then I quit drinking. And then, so by the time the 2012 competition came around, I won it again, but I won by like miles. I mean, I was like, I really tightened up. A year of sobriety really tightened up my comedy.
Okay. Sure. Anyone listening, that's a really good life lesson right there.
Yeah, it really tightened it up. And then so then the next 2 years, I really worked on comedy in Charleston, and then decided to move to Nashville because I wanted to basically be a road comic.
Nashville's one of the few cities you can do that, Dana, where you can, there's San Fran had a pretty big scene. I don't know if it's still as big, but LA, New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Austin now, and Nashville, I think. But does Nashville have enough clubs?
Well, Nashville, we only have one club really, but we have 2 rooms now. But it wasn't, and I had an inn at Zany's, which was the only club I had an inn at. But it's also about the cities that are around it. There's all these cities, Birmingham at 3 hours, Lexington, Kentucky, 3 hours, Louisville. Okay. So you can drive within 8 hours. There's so many cities with clubs. Okay. So I started getting in as a feature, really working the road.
And so you started as a feature, and obviously you're going to headline. How long did that take? And did you have people trying to fuck with you? I mean, the club scene can be pretty brutal, especially when someone's climbing up. There's a lot of, if you hang out with the comics, it's a little bit of a psychological warfare.
It was
That green
always
room.
okay for me because I've always
Mhm.
just been nice to people. I mean, I
Good.
made enemies along the way. I mean, people start disliking me for no reason. I don't know why.
Because you're good, probably.
Maybe. And I'm clean too. And when I would book shows, I would want other comics to be clean, and then they would try to act like I'm trying to censor everyone. And I'm like, I don't even need you to be that clean. I just don't need you to say the worst possible things that come to your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
You're always ready for corporate gigs, though, which is nice when you're clean because you don't have to do anything.
Well, that's what I'm all about, is trying to create the kind of set that no matter where I'm at, I can just do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to go, oh, what is this I'm doing? Let me try. If it's too clean, then I'll have to take out weed jokes and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm like, yeah, I just do my jokes.
I think Seinfeld was like that. I think is like that. I think Leno, Dano, also Nate is more
Pretty
presently
much, yeah.
doing great, which is clean, which is just known for being clean, which is not what it used to be. But there's a lot of people that have gotten more R-rated. And
Jeff Foxworthy is.
clean, Foxworthy,
right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that. The Southern comedians. Ron White and Jeff and Larry the Cable Guy, Dan. Those guys, those Southern comics were huge, and I'd be playing Minneapolis or something, and who's coming in, and it was Jeff or somebody on a
Or
Gulf
the blue
Stream.
collar, Bill Engvall.
Yeah, they monetize stand up in a brilliant way with marketing and books, and there's something that heritage, and now we have Bert and you and others. It's kind of interesting. Do you think about that? I mean, that those Southern comics, and they toured together, and they all got incredibly wealthy, I believe.
Oh yeah. Well, I've worked with most of them, and and talked to them about it, but I don't know that that sort of thing really would work now. But I especially that branding. That's why I don't try to do the blue collar branding, but I called my special working man. Because my whole idea is to I don't know. I worked
Man of the people, kind of.
Yeah, I worked for 15, 20 years just doing regular jobs before I became a comic. So I'm like, I can relate to people on being broke and working a job that you hate. So that's what I'm into. And it's like,
well, you're succeeding immeasurably, because watching your special, which early when we got on the Zoom, Working Man was right above We're Having a Good Time, but that's not the name of the special.
Oh yeah.
It's Working Man. Yeah,
I'm okay with them thinking it's We're Having a Good Time, though. If they search it, that's fine.
And also your name's easy to search.
Yes.
Dusty Slay. Is that your real name? Because it's a pretty cool name.
It is my real name. I have a little debate with myself, right? My parents, they named me Dustin, right? And then they wrote down Dustin on the birth certificate, but never called me that. No one's ever called me that. So if my parents call me Dusty, I mean, does it make any difference that they wrote down Dustin? That's what I always
cares?
say.
It's still a subsidiary of Dustin.
It happens all the time. You get a name, and then someone's named Thomas, and then they're Tommy, or whatever.
Right.
It's very common.
But why even call him Thomas? I guess, I don't know. I guess it's some professionalism that you may want at some point in your life. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know someone who named their baby Ollie. No, Oliver. And I thought the kid's going to just be Ollie. Just know that.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to call it, hey, Ollie. And that's just different.
Yeah.
And you know what? The only thing that caught on,
Dustin writes
David.
books.
And David, the only thing that caught on was dipshit. And I thought it would be Dave or Davey, but it kind of went south.
Well,
on me.
it's
you
got
gotta
a ring
hate when they go that far away, that far removed.
Yeah, I go.
Like, let's keep
you
it
have
in
one
the
letter
David
you
realm.
started with. You just took the D. It's very lazy nicknaming.
It is a lazy nickname. That's a shame.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. It was low hanging fruit. I mean, that's obvious, David.
Yeah.
It's such an easy transition.
And then when I played tennis This joke's not over. When I played tennis, I said I want to be known as the Spade of Ace because it just writes itself. And then in the paper they said Pin Dick wins again. I'm like, oh, why? Now you're throwing everything out the window.
You can't make yourself a cool nickname. You never can.
I know that's the problem.
Yeah.
Spade was good enough. Just leave it.
Spade of Ace. I mean, that's a
Spade of
cool
Ace. I
name.
like that.
Yeah.
But Dusty Slay, I mean, it is kind of it's definitely could be an outlaw in a Western or something, and it has a
it worked out.
kind of a badass vibe to it.
Yeah, it worked out for me. If I want to switch from comedy and just be a serial killer or any kind of thing, the name works.
Anything. That's kind of catchy, like the BTK killer is catchy. Dusty Slay, BTK.
Yeah.
Dusty Slay.
You're compared to him a lot, I think.
Yeah. I don't know who BTK is, but
he's a killer, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Serial killer.
I
think what does it stand for, Dana?
Jokes, but I don't know a lot of them.
Son of Sam. That's what's the most famous there. Ted Bundy, Son of Sam. These are famous serial killers for 10, Bob. David?
Oh, yeah.
My Siri just pulled up BTK killer because it heard me.
Oh, man.
I think it stands for
I don't
bound, torture, kill.
Okay.
Yeah, serial
big
killer.
Time
and
killer.
He seems like you. I mean, his positive things about him seem like you. He travels a lot. Maybe
I mean, all things about serial killers are not bad. It's the killing part that is really the best part.
The very last part. They're fun on dates. They're positive.
They're so quiet. They tend to themselves. They have
Ted
a really
Bundy
nice
was apparently very good looking, charismatic. It's like those are good qualities. It's like just don't kill people.
That's the whole key to life, really. And the name of your next special.
Yeah, don't kill people. Yeah.
How do you manage it? I'm just curious for a sec how you because you got to invent a style. You have to do all these jokes. Like, did you start with a word processor? Are you someone who taped your act? We've talked to Jim Gaffigan and others, and the discipline of it, or even Nikki Glazer for the Tom Brady roast, 2 months of listening and workshopping. Where are you on that? Because Nate they seem similar. Your acts are so tight. How do you do that? Do you record and listen, or is that painful?
Well, for a long time, that's what I was doing. I recorded every set. Now I'm moving into theaters, and I'm having a hard time figuring out how to get a video camera set up for myself every time. But I don't know. I have a pretty good memory, and I like to write a set list, and I like to try to stick to the set list. But like now that I am in theaters, I'm like, I get to go, I can riff a lot, right? So I'm like, as long as I stick to this, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do my hour that they've paid for. So if I riff for an extra 20 minutes, that's okay. And then that's how I write jokes.
That's scary. Yeah. I mean, you might come up with a winner. That's true. If you're doing well, I just played this weekend. If you're doing well, it's so much easier. I played a theater that had a sound problem and it was echoing. And we're like, you can't fix this echo. And they're like, no, they don't hear it out there. And I'm like, I don't know. And then
but
you're doing your act. I'm sticking. The point is I'm sticking directly to what works because I can't fuck around. You know, those nights where you're like, I cannot even gamble with something over here. And then I just saw an article, Dana. They said the sound was a little off at that show, unfortunately. I was like, oh my God. So it was out in the audience.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's such a disappointment.
Sometimes for me, if I'm doing a bad gig and my good jokes are not going well, it's almost better for me to riff because I'm like, all right, if the good jokes are bombing, then I got nothing else. I got the good jokes, and then I got these things that I've been loosely working on. And at least the ones I've been loosely working on, I don't know how they're supposed to go. So if I get mediocre laughs, I'm like, all right, that feels pretty good because this is a new bit. But if it's a joke I know that crushes. Yeah.
Do you do crowd work ever or no?
I don't. I will mess around with the audience some if I peek, because I get a lot of drunk people. I'm sure we all do. But if people are yelling out, I'll try to riff with them a little bit, mainly to try to get them to be quiet. But I don't want to be mean about it. So I did the Troubadour.
I do the same thing.
You did
Go ahead.
Troubadour?
The Troubadour in LA. For the Netflix festival. And that late show was so rowdy. They were all wearing my hats. Half the audience bought my hats. and were wearing them in the crowd, but were still yelling at me the whole time. It was so rowdy. I crowd worked so much on that show. I never do that. And I was actually getting mad at some people.
I'm the same way. It's scary. It's hard to crowd work. And if it
when
goes south on you,
they're just yelling. There's no back and forth. So I'm just noticing this. The last guest we had on this podcast, who was, quote, moving into theaters from nightclubs, which is a big deal, was Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're really starting to put him in theaters. So you must feel pretty good right now. I mean, it's very flattering, you know.
I do feel great. I mean, it's like I've already been more successful than I ever thought that I would be. So at this point, anything's just a bonus. I'm like, my manager was like, what do you want to do now? And I'm like, I don't know. I've already achieved all the goals I ever hoped to achieve. So I'm good now. Let's just ride this out.
Yeah, this might be it. Hey, so Dana, here's a couple.
28 minutes.
Here's a couple of his jokes that are funny.
Right. Let me hear these.
Okay,
here we go. Dusty Slay joke.
I'm trying when he goes. I thought of this because I check out of hotels too. He goes. They said he says there's a 7-step process. They say to make checking out of your hotel faster. He goes, what's faster than just leaving?
Yeah.
He goes, when I check out of a hotel, I just leave. And he goes, I didn't even know you had to do anything. I know my friends that go, hey, we're leaving. So do we go by the front desk, give them our keys and have a little goodbye speech? I go, I think that's over. I think people just
walk
leave,
away.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to let them know. Actually, you tell them when you're going to be leaving when you check in. You know, it's like, just expect that I'll stick to that.
It's really for people who
I'll stick to that.
Isn't it for, I don't know if you're like this. So there are people who want to get the receipt, look at the room service charges, double check.
Right.
That's the only reason to go to the front.
Oh, true. I used to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chocolate milk. And then he says daylight savings. No, first it starts with when you ask someone the time and they say it's 20 to 4 and you go, listen, if you don't know, just say you don't know.
Yeah.
Why do you say 20 to 4? You can't figure that one out.
Well, why am I asking questions and you're giving me other problems? It's like,
what do you mean? To say it's 3:40?
20 to 4 is funny. Yeah, that's like so specific.
Yeah.
He goes, if you don't know the answer, just say you don't know. And he's like, I was like, no, it's 20 to 4. And he's like, all right,
it's 20 to 4, but I ask you what time it is, not the steps I need to get there.
Yeah, you say there's nowhere else in life you do that.
Yeah, like why are we breaking everything down into problems like that?
Yeah, in 1 minute it'll be 19 minutes until 4 o'clock. I mean, it should be just what's the proper?
In Australia they say what time is it? You go, it's 30:30 or something, and they go, what does that mean? They go, it's 4:30, and I go, does that mean 4:30? You know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just tell me the fucking time.
It's too much. It's easy to just, what time is it? It's 3:20. Oh, okay. Great.
Got it. Okay. I don't want to stand here for 10 minutes.
Yeah. They're like 20 past the hour. I'm like, okay, but what is the hour?
What is the hour? Oh, daylight savings. And that you don't even know why we do it, of course. And then you go, oh, if it's cold in the winter. Oh, you cold? Well, maybe we should just get it darker a little earlier if you're cold.
Yeah, it's like the coldest time of the year. They're like, let's take the sun away from you. How about that?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I was laughing your whole Fallon set. I called Fallon and I said, what do you think of Dusty Slay? And he said, who is he? I said he has long hair, and then he thought it was Jennifer Aniston. I was like, no, and then we got cut off. But overall, I think he would think you were very funny on there. He was laughing in the shadows.
Well, they showed the shot over you and onto him.
Yeah,
he's just convulsing. I mean,
that's always helps. He's always a good audience.
We have a great time. Yeah,
he's a fucking.
We have a great time on there.
How many times have you been on Jimmy Fallon's show?
4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? So you do have at least 24 minutes of material.
At least, yeah. I did Jimmy Kimmel one time too. So we can go ahead and add another 5.
So you're up to 5.
Do you have to go do panel?
No, never. They were like, there was some talk that I might do panel on this last time. But then they
Okay.
said one of the guests went too long, so that they're going to go ahead.
There was
Oh,
some
you're
loose
backstage.
chatter.
Yeah.
Loose
Fuck.
chatter.
Yeah.
Who was the
maybe.
guest? Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
I was out there going, not gonna do it. and I couldn't. I was on a loop. I couldn't stop it. God, do it. God.
They're trying to unplug him.
I want to. Yeah. So your peers, your friends. I mean, that you come up with this stand up. How are they? How are they doing? Or do you have friends you want to help bring on the road with you that haven't made it yet? And just that thing. Hey, Dusty's kicking it, man.
Well, most of the people that I started doing comedy with in Charleston have quit doing comedy. Like some of them, I got a buddy that moved to New York, a couple that moved to LA, and they're still doing it. But, I have people that live here in Nashville that I do take on the road. But
makes it more fun.
Yeah, I love to take people with me. You never know who you're going to get paired up with, and you're like, and then you got nobody to hang with. And I don't even hang a lot. I just like to do a little comedy and then have a cigar. That's what I like to do. So I need someone that'll smoke about half a cigar so I can smoke mine and then I smoke the rest of theirs and then we go to bed. That's all I want.
Then do you go to the mall in the day when you're on the road or no?
Sometimes if I'm at a club attached to a mall, I might walk around in there, but the mall makes me sad. I just feel bad for people in there. I don't know what they're doing there. And I don't know what it is. I walk around in there and I go, this seems like everybody seems like they hate their lives in the mall. Yeah. And I don't know what
you ruined the mall for me.
I kind of sense a 10-minute chunk on malls being depressing, maybe, Dusty.
Yeah, well, I just feel like it's like, I was in the mall in the 90s, and then it feels like everybody in the mall has been there since the 90s. It just feels like they're trapped.
They never left. It cut to me game. Still there from the 90s. Yeah, I do go. It's sort of the number one time killer on the road on Family Feud. If you're a comic, it's like number one thing you do mindlessly on the road. Go to the mall. You don't buy anything. You just walk in circles and you go, well, we did that.
I think that's the sad thing about it. Yeah, you're just walking around in there. You don't want to buy anything.
Getting
everything
steps.
You're like sarcastic. There's stores in there called It's Sugar, and I'm like, thanks for being honest about it, but I don't need any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll eat sometimes at the food court, and I always regret it. I go,
cramps.
Gosh, I feel.
There's
disgusting.
one called It's Cramps.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do a lot of activity. I'll see people on tour with Nate or Bert Kreischer, and I see all of the things that they're doing, and I'm like, that's exhausting.
Go-kart racing.
Yeah. I'm like,
they go
how do you have
do
time?
shit.
How do you have time?
It might be part of the show. I think Bert, after two comics, they go-kart race around the auditorium.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you have time to sit in your room and get sad? I mean, I don't know what you do before a show. That's what sad. I need. I need to save all my energy for the show and also be like, get into some mindset of why am I even doing this? Do I like this? And then go out and then I get to really kind of explode onto the stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Ray Romano would just go golf 18 holes in Vegas.
Run his show,
with his friends, and I just thought, it's a heat wave, and they're out there, and then just come in. And
I know in Vegas, Dana, he would do the show. We'd get done right before midnight because we both go on.
It's a late show.
Then we do a Q&A. Then he goes, "You going in?" I go, "Yeah, I've never been up this late since New Year's Eve." And then he goes, "Okay, we're gonna go gamble." And I'm like, "And then you're gonna get up and golf, and then you're gonna come do this show." And I think he's older than me. I'm like, this guy's in great shape. He's killing it. That's where I got sad.
I don't know. To me, it just comes down to it's like, you like doing that. You like going to gamble. You like going to golf.
I'm jealous.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem fun
I like
to
to
me.
golf, but I don't like to go out all night and feel like shit. But it's just not my thing anymore.
Yeah, it's like I don't like. I like to be in nature, but I don't. Golf to me, it's like kind of nature, but you're on like a real kind of like fertilized up AstroTurf kind of lawn, and all the animals. And then you, what are you doing? You're hitting the ball around. I'm just not.
You still don't even know what golf is. You're like, and then what do? You just
the main
grab
thing
the
is
stick. You hit
All
a ball.
golfers suck. I mean, basically every single amateur
Yeah, no
golfer
one's good.
is horrible and looks like a clown, me included. So, and it's painful to swing and miss at a golf ball. But when you do connect and you really hit it, I guess that keeps you coming back another day, or you sink one long putt. But
Yeah,
That's what people say.
Like Rich Nate, he's like, Dana, he gets all in it. We golfed a while back and he was pretty good. He's really good now. And I'm like, yeah, well, Nate, I don't know if everyone takes all their money you have because you get to go take lessons at NASA or something. And then he's like,
Yeah.
I am objectively way better than I was. That's what money does.
Yeah.
Nate and his
Yeah,
money.
I mean, for me, I'm like, I want to buy, I just bought a 4-wheeler, I bought a 0-turn lawnmower. That's where when I get some money, I'm like, I'm trying to buy some things to drive around.
do you have a
Yeah,
farm or a big
sit
piece
down
of property kind of out
Well,
in Nashville? Are you out in
well,
the country a little bit?
Right
or-
outside of Tennessee, I got about 10 acres.
Okay.
But I got some land in it. I got some land in Alabama. That's where my dad has a farm in Alabama. So we got a little land there. And so, we can do, so I grew up kind of doing stuff like that, running 4-wheelers and, that sort of thing, swimming in the creek and the pond. And I'm
In the
more into
creek.
the real country stuff.
You're not faking it.
Have you ever heard John Denver's song, Thank God I'm a Country Boy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you come up to that? Is that
I
your
would
walk
not
on?
come up to that. That's too cheesy to come up to.
Well,
it is a good song.
Jesse Slade.
I'm eating some jerky and yeah.
All right. Before we let you go, let me see. You were on Lights Out. You did a great job with us there.
Yeah,
We
2
won-
times
we
on
won-
Lights Out. I love
Yeah.
that show. I had a great time.
I loved it
So
too.
much
I don't know
fun.
why Dave quit. I
Yeah.
mean,
I don't know why it quit me.
It was a great show.
Yeah, we had a blast on that
Theo
show.
was on that a lot. You were on that a lot.
Yeah.
Now you're all
You
famous.
got a good luck with we're having a good time. We love Nate. We're just busting his balls, of course. Nate's on that with you, and you have one with your.
I do We're Having a Good Time podcast with my wife, and then
that's
I'm
what that
on
is,
That's
right? I'm
it.
sorry,
Yeah,
Nate
Nate Land podcast with.
Yeah,
That's why I
with
was
Nate.
confused. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yes.
Okay.
I listened
You
to
got-
the one with you and your wife. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you.
It's
Yeah,
charming.
we just get on there.
Yeah.
My wife used to do comedy. We did a live podcast taping at the Comedy Store when we were in
Mhm.
LA recently. Very fun.
Oh,
With an
was that
audience,
part
it
of
gives it a lot of
Netflix?
supercharge to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun with
Um,
the crowd.
So
It
you
is
have
fun.
you have a lot of fans that want to dress like you. And do you sell hats? I guess you do merchandise, and they
I have a
so-
hat. I have his hat.
Yeah. And
And
it
then
looks good. I mean, every time you wear it, I'm sharing it because I'm like, look how good this hat looks.
Oh yeah, I got to get another one. I'll get Dana one too.
Yeah, I'll get you both some hats. Yeah, I'd love
Yeah,
to.
do that. That
and
black
you
one was
have a
big
full
hit.
head of hair.
Yeah, I mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have a
God
full head
damn.
of hair, and then because
Gorgeous,
my
yeah.
brother always said, one of my brothers again, he always said, if I go bald, I'll be the guy with the hat. I'm just going to be the guy with the hat.
Uh-oh.
Solve
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole problem. You know,
Hey,
Well,
you
I
should
think,
sell scrunchies.
yeah. I like to
yeah.
rest the hat out. Just
That's
kind of
it.
rest it on there. You don't really wear it. You just kind of rest it on.
yeah,
there.
that's the thing. It
Balance
doesn't
it.
squeeze your head. It just
Yeah.
kind of sits.
I
It's-
don't. Yeah, that's why
light.
my hats look stupid. I always like with these big stupid trucker hats, but I do like them mostly because I don't like my hair. But you have good hair. You look like kind of Shooter Jennings meets Aniston.
Yeah.
Again.
I feel like I've gotten a lot of Jennifer Aniston comparisons, and I don't mind it. I mean, she obviously a very
No.
attractive person.
I'm sure it
into
comes up all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
all right,
into it.
thank you, Dusty. You're a good dude, and I'm glad you got to see Dana. And we
Well,
had fun
I am
talking to
too.
you.
I'm very honored to be here. You guys are great, and I appreciate you.
Well, we think you're great, and it's always fun to talk to someone who's so humble about it. Like you've already reached your dreams. That's my touchstone. This is how I make a living, doing comedy.
Yeah,
And there's all the rest of it, but this is my job. Like,
yeah.
you can't.
Anything. This is so great that I get to do this podcast. I never thought I would be doing stuff like this. It's all really great. I've watched you both on TV for many years. It's a real blessing to be here. So I appreciate it. But yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, this is this is my job, and this is fun to do. I mean, comedy's a blast.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I just love your attitude and have fun out there, and theaters can fun and all the hotels. And I guess you just the end game is how many dates do you do and how do you pace yourself? 'Cause
Yeah.
the powers that be would love you to do 300. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, I got a good team, and they seem to be okay. Because I got 2 small kids, so they seem to be okay. They don't pressure me to be out too much. So
that's good. So you come and go and pick your spots.
Because I want to, I love to do comedy. I love to be out here doing it. But I also, I like my, I like my family. So
you like your kids?
Just find a balance.
I want to be around them. Yeah.
Yeah. You like your kids.
Yeah.
All right. See you, buddy.
Well, really nice meeting you.
You
Peace
too.
out.
Take care.
You too. Thank you.
God bless.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe, leave a like, a review, all the stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss Berman of Odyssey, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.